Welcome to paradise. A gunshot rings out at the station. Another urchin snaps and left dead on his own. It makes me wonder why I'm still here. For some strange reason it's now feeling like I am, and I'm never gonna go. Pay attention to the crowd streets and the broken homes. Some call it some call it nice. I wanna take her through a wasteland I like to call my own. Welcome to paradise. Welcome to paradise.
Hello and welcome to the HomeBhoys live phone-in show here on a Monday night. Monday the 30th of December, we're almost in 2014. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what awaits us? First things first, get the board stuff out of the way. Do you want to call in? Call in Skype. Download Skype, it's easy. Go on the internet, Google it, it's easy. You can call us in, add us HomeBhoys on Skype, and we'll accept your request. And then that way you can call us up on Skype and have a little chat and just join in the conversation. Other ways, which seems to be a wee bit more easier for the non-technical people out there, is to call the HomeBhoys landline, which is 0141 356 7327. That's 0141 356 7327, and that's a landline. It'll cost you what it costs to call a Glasgow local number. But of course, if you're listening to this on download, none of that applies to you. Relax. Don't worry about it. Don't call any of those numbers because nobody's going to answer. What else?
It's one of those things. Prize lines are closed. Do not call.
I would say that's one of those things. We never do that. Like, you know what I mean? And for all we know, people are on the bus on the way to work going, I got to call in. You know what I mean? And then just call us bastards because nobody picks up. Otherwise, you can hit us up on Twitter at HomeBhoys on Twitter or homeboys@gmail.com. You can send us emails, or you can go in the chat room where all the good arguments start. Okay, so we got a few bits to talk about. We're closing out the year. We have the two games against St Johnstone and Inverness. Not Christmas classics, but we'll talk about them anyway. Joined as usual by the one and only Mr. David Harper.
All right, man.
Still reading from... do you want to tell people what happened, or should we leave it till later on?
I'm just sitting here having a wee apple teeny to drown my sorrows.
Apple teeny. Watch your monocle doesn't fall in the glass. We've also joined by the Green and White Radio, and now also the Green and White audio booker. Is that even a word?
Speaker.
The speaker, right? The Green and White speaker. The one and only Mr. Paul Largan.
Hello.
And back from the big smoke, the likely laddie, Jason Higgins.
How you doing?
What's the crack, lads? Everything alright?
Good, mate. Goodbye, mate. Is your sound alright? Does it sound alright? Your bit, you keep breaking up a wee bit to me.
My sound's alright.
It's alright to me. I think it's just this cough, isn't it?
Could be my cough. I'm still sick. Sickness has been going around my house now for about 3 weeks. And
Good 3 years.
Let's just pass from one person to the next. I get it and somebody else gets it. It's just a nightmare. So I'm just coughing and spluttering, and I'll try not to sniff too much. And people don't think I'm some sort of cokehead. So everybody have a good Christmas?
Brilliant, really good. Very good. Very pretty quiet Christmas Day. Had dinner here, and mum and father Annie were here, and my brother Joe and Fiona, and my youngest brother Joe, he got engaged on Christmas Eve, so congratulations to him and Fiona.
Happy days.
But I was good, and then went to London for a few days with London and the kids. It was brilliant, so I had a great time.
Is London the kind of place you can really bring kids? Is it kid friendly?
London?
Aye.
Oh, aye, brilliant. There's loads of stuff to do. Tons of stuff to do. It's one of the world's great capitals as far as I'm concerned. It's got everything. And I went and done all the touristy stuff. Kids had a ball. Took them to a West End show. Done a couple of other things, and we took them to this thing called Hint Hunt. It's one of the best things I've ever done. But I don't want to ruin it to Andy, but if anybody's in London, about 3 months before you go, book it, because it sells out dead quick, and it's tremendous. It's on TripAdvisor is the top thing to do while you're in London. It's a Hungarian concept, and if you like the Crystal Maze and stuff like that,
I love the Crystal Maze.
You're locked in a room. You need to find your way out of the room. It's phenomenal.
That sounds like somebody who's playing a trick on you, and they wanted to leave you there, Jason. Go on, lock them in a room there.
The kids loved it. They all loved it. It was just brilliant. You've got an hour to get out. And obviously there's loads of clues and stuff like that. And,
I see Linda was loving it when she was sitting in the bar, sipping an apple tea. You just were locked in the room.
she was loving it.
Can I ask you a question? I've always wanted to know this, right? Maybe I asked you last year, probably did. But on Christmas morning, you sharing the birthday and the Messiah, do you have a wee separate corner for birthday presents?
Not really, no, because you've got 2 kids now, so it builds in insignificance. So, but I don't know. Poor me. I would always get a birthday present and a Christmas present, right? But folk always say to you, I'd hate it. It must be terrible having your birthday that day. I says, well, I've never had it any other day to compare it with. It seems quite natural to me.
But are you one of those people? Are you into birthdays? I'm not into birthdays, like.
Not really. This is just another day, really. And I just love Christmas for the fact it's for the kids now and stuff like that. I'm excited. That's recreated the magic for me.
Oh, that's the same with me. I'm not big into
Christmas.
Christmas.
My wife was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? The excitement. And she come through and sat on the edge of the bed at 6:15 to 6:30, just staring at me, trying to roll me up with Jedi mind tricks. And I got up at 6:30 to open presents, then was back in my bed for 8:30.
I was up for about 5:30 with the kids. It was brilliant.
See, my kids like to sleep. I didn't get out of bed about 9:30.
Alright, I wish that was me.
My kids like it.
No, great time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So also 2 victories for the Hoops. Can't complain. Not like some other Celtic supporters.
Yeah, but listen, we can't speak for everybody, and nor do we try to. So, Paul, how's your Christmas, mate?
Oh, very quiet, Joe. Nothing to report. Move on now.
All right, and we all know how Harper's went. It started off really well until yesterday when it got really bad. But we'll talk about that later. So, first game, St Johnstone. Away to St Johnstone, wonder goal from Virgil van Dijk. Well, I say wonder goal. He got the ball in his own half, and I think in fairness, the St Johnstone team just kind of watched them while he ran through and scored a great wee goal. Anybody there? Any of us there?
Yeah.
Paul, you were there?
Yeah, I agree with you about the goal, Joe. I mean, it was, if he's in his own half and all that, but I mean, I don't think there was a tackle attempted on him. No. And at the time when they tried to close him down, he just slotted it in. I mean, I think it just kind of illustrates how well Van Dijk's been playing. I mean, for a laddie, 22-year-old, I mean, he's a man mountain, and he's got some great pace, reads the game perfectly. And he's just been the absolute cornerstone of this unbeaten run, I think, the fact we've just not really been conceding goals in the SPL for a while. And, I think, overall the game itself was a bit, started off well, played, City lulled into a sort of more scrappy game, like the previous two games up there. We drew 1-1 and then got beat 2-1. We scored early and ended up, getting nothing. But we dug in for this one, and but it was. Unfortunately, there was no riots or anything like that to report on or people to get upset about, so I was just happy with the points. I mean, it's been a couple of years since we've actually won up there, so, I'm happy to get the points, but, certainly there won't be one we'll be looking at the video at any time soon again,
I know, it wasn't exactly a classic, but I mean, what about the atmosphere? On TV, it looked very drab, and like the commentators kept mentioning, it's pretty quiet here.
I mean, it was talking off air. I mean, McDermott Park is very open. I mean, there's nothing there. There was basically an industrial site that's got now a couple of supermarkets or whatever there. It's not got the kind of layout of a Dundee or even an Aberdeen or that, where you're surrounded by pubs and people can go and stuff like that. It's impossible to get to unless you're on a bus, a supporters bus or a car. I mean, the train stations are 25 minutes right. So, I mean, that kind of curtails quite a few things. In fact, it is a 3 o'clock, and, I think, to be honest with you, quite a few people were still hungover for Christmas Day. The ones surrounding me, certainly. But, I mean, it was pretty heavy-handed with the stewards and stuff like that, in terms of searching people or whatever. But perhaps the whole, is there going to be flags, is there not going to be flags, fiasco kind of, put people on edge a wee bit, but, there was enough singing and all that, but I mean, obviously we're in a kind of lull with the fans now, so, I'm not going to sit here and berate anybody for lack of atmosphere, because I normally just sit and watch the game anyway, you know what I mean, so...
Paul, were you a bit surprised that there wasn't more flags? I kind of was, like, I was expecting a sort of flag.
I was thinking to myself, with this, I mean, it felt like, a couple of days before Christmas, there's going to be flags, there's no, it was like the hokey cokey. And then the next thing, I was thinking to myself, Christ, I'd love to be a merchandise seller at McDermott Park. Nobody's going to buy them. But there was a few extra, I will say that. But certainly, I was expecting a flag day type thing, like when we won the league. And no, that just didn't happen. I mean, at the end, there's a huge Celtic support there, and I always think everybody here's done it, people who go away for their family, it's different for me, I didn't live with my kids or anything like that, but for people who travel, on Boxing Day up to Perth, away for their families all day, it's not an easy thing, and fair play to everybody done it. It was a massive Celtic support there, and perhaps maybe the people that was talking about flags and bans and all that might have looked at that and thought, wouldn't they want to keep pissing these people off, because, we are the lifeblood of this league, there's no doubt about that,
It was always one of my favourite days to go to the football Boxing Day. It seemed to always would be Dundee United for years in a row. I can remember going up there and great crack, man. But see, you mentioned the stewards. What was like the Coppers' presence like outside the stadium and leading up to the stadium? Nothing
untoward of what I saw. No. I was in about 40 minutes before kick-off, and it was nothing. I mean, the stewards were all, pretty, patting people down and all that kind of thing. But you kind of, it's the same as always now, But there wasn't any that thing where you get at football matches when suddenly everybody's turning and looking at the crowd, and there was incidents happening here. There was nothing like that at all. I agree with you about Boxing Day. I love the Boxing Day fixture. It's something, it's been ups and downs. I remember going right back, you're talking about Dundee United in 1987, when Joe Muller scored a diving in the last minute. That turned the centenary season win for us. And we never look back, so it's always great memories. But I guess there was definitely an edge. There was definitely, there was a lot of people. I think, I think we often say on this show or on the internet that things that are really huge issues, on social media and stuff like that, and then your kind of Joe Public guy doesn't have a clue about them. I thought everybody knew what was going on with the flags and banners. That was my impression. I think they thought, oh my God, this is going to be like, Colditz when we go up here, but it wasn't that bad, and no children were harmed in the recording it.
See what probably maybe took away from it a wee bit, how you're mentioning like McDermott Park. It's in the middle of nowhere, And it used to be Boxing Day, as we said, Tannadice and Dens Park. You got there pretty early, and you'd be in the clubs and the pubs and all that, and it was made for a good atmosphere even before you got to the stadium, So that's probably lost it a wee bit, going to Perth.
Exactly, and there is, there's places, the buses stop on the way up and all that, and Milner Thorpe was always one that we went to. But, you know, as I said before, there's no trains, so you can't get up there on the train. Most people drove up there or went on buses. And, you know, for what I can gather, there was quite a lot of spot checks for drink and all that. So there wasn't the sort of opportunities there was perhaps for a Dundee or an Aberdeen with a socialising aspect or, you know, any of that kind of thing. And even when you get there, you know, there's just nowhere to go. You know, there's a supermarket and, you know, that's about it, really. I think that's been part of the course pretty much since McDermott Park was built, you know.
We've been joined by Alistair. Alistair, you there?
Alright, mate.
How's things, mate? You alright?
Oh, no bad. No bad.
What
Did you have a good Christmas, Alistair?
Alright, how's things, mate? Alright.
Did you have a good Christmas, mate?
Aye, no bad. No bad. Yourself. Just one of the house book, so that was good.
Very good.
No, guys, it was brilliant. Just to wish you all the best and that for 2014. Hopefully we get a couple of surprises in January. That'd be nice. But
You're not going to phone next week?
yeah.
We won't get a couple of players, Alistair, I'll tell you that.
Alright. Yeah, I wouldn't have had my best either, so
You know, it's like...
no, I just so I was at the 2 games St Johnstone and Inverness. I thought they were quite similar. Started well and then just faded away, but at the end of the day it's 6 points. And that's what you can really ask for.
And I hear Lennon coming out as well. He's saying obviously that some players have played 35 games this season, and you can equate that to like a full season for others that weren't involved in Europe and stuff like that for a normal. So he's got a point, but I think we'd all like to see better football, and a couple of guys not doing it now. Like Samaras is getting all sorts of flack, but to be fair, he's not helping himself. So,
but Jason, the thing is, can we honestly say any of the former club in the business apart from Commons?
yeah, if Stokes is with 2 goals in 21 games, his last 21 games.
See that?
And I'm not saying what a broken record coming on here, but everybody's flagging Pookie, but Stokes hasn't set in the head of a light either.
I think Stokes is more effective when he's got somebody that's a goal scorer next to him. But with Pookie, he's got somebody that's exactly the same as him. Baldy, he's sort of not had a chance to gel with him. So yeah, Samaras isn't a centre. You know, he shouldn't be playing anywhere near the front two. He's just thank God for Chris Commons. I had a tenner on him for the first goal yesterday.
We would be between him.
I know.
Well, so did you guys have a nice Christmas?
Did, mate, very good. Had a really good one.
Happy birthday, Jason, by the way.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I'm in the pension fund where I thought, well, I think that, no, I'm really kidding.
Jim, I can really fall.
Aye, you're me for Harper.
So, any of you got any transfer rumours for January?
Ibrahimovic.
Aye, right, Joe.
He's on his way. It's dusted.
When I heard that, I said, typical bloody son.
They went the Icelandic boy. Do you think the Icelandic boy got a start on Wednesday, or do you think he'll be on the bench?
On the bench.
Probably
Wouldn't it be fair to chuck him in and expect miracles?
There was Alistair, when you asked me the question, right, there was a couple of rumours I've seen on Celtic Minded today. Jason knew I've seen them as well. Like, no, the boy was Hassan for Al said that he's handed a transfer request there after Celtic bid $500,000 and the club turned it down. That's the comment. He's him or his agent or someone. That was one rumour I read. Don't know anything about the boy.
He's a midfielder, that's about all I know.
Yeah.
But you never know. I'm not expecting the 1st of January period for us just to go bang, bang, bang. It'll be a last minute as per usual. But
well, it was interesting to see Neil Lennon said there wouldn't be, he wasn't looking at any loan signings at all. So I think that takes any idea that we might get kind of blockbuster headline player for it to maybe try and put bums on seats like what they done with Robbie Keane. That's obviously going to negate anything like that. So I'm not exactly too excited about the January transfer window at all.
And the thing is, like, I mean,
we don't need anybody anyway.
Exactly, I was going to say, don't need anybody. I'm beaten in the league, like, so, I mean, but I mean, to get somebody in would
they're good in theory, but to be honest, what's the chances? Just say Robbie Keane, for example. What is the realistic chances Keane have? No, it's really here. So what's the point in a loan signing like that?
Well, I think the point at that time was it was quite exciting at the time. Like, I remember sitting up watching it on Sky and the pictures of the aeroplane and man at Presswick or whatever it was and all that. So, and it was an exciting signing. Well, it certainly was for me, in my opinion. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, he scored really goals. And I think that the idea of that then was to try and G the fans up. Maybe it needs something like that again in the there because there seems to be quite a bit of apathy set in a lot of supporters. I don't know why. Maybe, as we're saying, the football's not been great, but we're still winning games. I mean, that's potentially one of our hardest away games, going up to Inverness whenever they kick off, like, no. Traditionally, we've struggled in the game sometimes up there, so, I mean, I never seen the game yesterday because I was, my mind was warped. I had to just be at the house and I couldn't go to the pub, so I never seen the game, but it's always a hard game up there to get away with another clean sheet. 3 points in the bag, still going. I mean, there's no lot to complain about. I understand that the football's not the most entertaining, but you've got to remember, teams didn't exactly set up to let us play football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was going to say, remember this time last year we were getting slaughtered for getting stupid points. We were no getting points, we were no 1-5 nothing. People won holiday trip, but you can't do that.
See, this is it, and I think because of social media, you're reading it all, and we all know the certain type of supporter that nothing would make them happy. You know, it's just they just moan constantly. Whereas
up there yesterday, Jason, like that.
I know, but to be fair, the football was rubbish, you know, and it's an entertainment sport, and it was rubbish. But see if we get a competitive league, say Aberdeen or Dundee United were up the top of the league and we were 2 points behind them or whatever. See if we'd won there to go top of the league, nobody'd be bothered about the performance. You know what I mean? The result would be all that mattered. But see, because we're that far in front of the league, folk are looking at other things now and they're wanting to be entertained. Because it's not that important. You're right. There isn't an edge, but it's not going to kill us if we get beat. Because we're still going to win the league.
I think you're right though. People do kind of expect now because things are going so well, we're unbeaten. Like they expect, well, this team should be going out there and showboating and just blowing us away with skill and and heart. But it's not like that. You don't win football matches like that. You know what I mean? You can't go in cocky to football matches.
Apart from the Scottish Cup, really, I mean, the league. We all know we're going to win the league. And I suppose a big target now is to go through the season unbeaten. That's like a proper goal now. I suppose something to look at, like, but obviously the Scottish Cup. But I don't know. It's hard to.
I don't think it's any coincidence that Samaras wasn't playing for the Hearts game and the Motherwell game. Right. 2 of our best performances of the season.
I would be happy, you know, losing a couple of games, but giving young boys a chance, because really, it's just giving young boys a chance. See when you've got new reserves, you're going to win the league anyway, so why should we have to go and pay, for the example, go and pay $2 million for some guy like Ryan Grove, for example, when we don't know, they could be a boy just as good in the reserves.
That brings me on to a tweet, Joe, right? We've got a tweet from Budgie 1888. He says, would it be better to give some youngsters a good run and risk a few dodgy results in the league for the rest of the year? I think this is something we touched on before, but don't know what you think about that.
Definitely, as long as it's only a few at a time, as we've said before, there's no point in getting 5 or 6 a run out and then the team falls apart.
Yeah.
But 1 or 2 introduce them, absolutely, I'd be all for that.
And also, talking about signing players, I mean, we're going to lose 2 you know, on Bosman deals in January, you would imagine, if we didn't get a hand or whatever. That's a market we should be going into as well. We should be looking at guys that are out of contract in 6 months and offering them a few weeks and getting them bedded in for 6 months before the Champions League qualifiers or that, you know. Perhaps players that, you know, if you put Samaras and Ledley on the open market on full contracts, you'd be looking at what, maybe 10 million the pair, you know, with Ledley taking up the bulk of that, given that he's young, the wages he's on, etc. So we could be looking at that market and saying, well, who can we pick up to negate this kind of loss and say he would not be 6, 7, 8 million, but because he's out of contract in 6 months, we get him for 1 or 2, and then push him on to the Champions League. You know what I mean? I think that would be better than. I mean, because I think Lennon, as Harper says at the press conferences last week that there was never going to be another Keane or Bellamy or anything like that, which is fine. I mean, I've got any issue with that, and you know, having said that, if it was Ian Rich, I'd be dancing in the street. But that's another thing. But you know, we need to be. That's to be. Bring in a couple of young boys and bring in a couple of guys that are going to be looking towards next season, like we did with Lustig, and look at the. He got slotted here by everybody for 6 months. Second game of the season at Ross County last year, played great, and suddenly we realised we've got a pair on our hands, you know. So,
all you really do is keep pardon the scouting that I've done no bad by. I know they've been good, but that was always going to harm. You're always going to get a bad good name again the market we shop in. So that's just what I was saying. That I've still got faith in Lennon, and hopefully we can get sorted for. Not as much for this season, but just, as you say, for the Champions League qualifiers. That's an important game. But anyway, guys, I'll let you go, and Paul, tell your James and that I was asking for him, alright?
Aye, no bother, mate.
No worries,
Take it easy, Alistair, mate. Appreciate it,
All the
mate.
best, Alistair.
Happy New Year, pal.
You too, mate. Aye.
Happy New Year, good man, Alistair. So
he's a wee ray of sunshine, Alistair, isn't he? Because he's always got a positive slant on the team.
yeah, we could do with some more of that. Fairness, like.
Well, see Neil Lennon. Let's face it, he's on a hiding to nothing. You know, nothing he can do. He can appease some folk. Do you know what I mean? Does he need to send a team out to win 8-0 every game?
Some people want that. You know what I mean? It's like a 1-0 win.
I want that.
I know, but like, some people like
it.
a 1-0 win is just like, Jesus, a 1-0 win, is that it? You know what I mean? There's a certain air of expectation.
So I've never watched a Celtic team that thrash teams every week, you know what I mean? And I've watched far better Celtic teams than this, and they never thrash teams every week, you know? I mean, it's no great, you know, it's not our fault, it's not great, I don't think, you know, it's not our fault teams can't challenge us, it's not our fault other teams, you know, fell by the wayside, whatever. But, you know, and Europe probably accelerated things in terms of people thinking we need to get 2 or 3 quality players in. But I mean, you know, I'll be honest with you, I think probably the biggest flaw I would make on Lennon was this season was the way he completely negated Brownie any punishment. I mean, I think that if Scott Brown had been fit for in for the 3 games he was suspended for, we wouldn't have lost him.
No,
you know, we probably picked up points, and that was huge. You know, we punch, we try and punch above our weight, we get to their level and that kind of thing. We can't afford to lose our captain for 3 games and go in with midfields that, you know, basically have, you know, guys playing out of position, guys getting in that wouldn't all be in, etc. But, you know, this has been definitely a transitional season, but we are still undefeated, and that's, you know, I mean, I don't know what you guys think if we can actually go through the entire season undefeated. It's something I've not really thought about till the last couple of games, to be honest.
I think so.
I think I kind of think we can, but it'll be hard, you know. But I think you're right, Paul. And the Lisbon Lions didn't trounce teams every week. Do you know? It's like, and the Lisbon Lions didn't play crowds of 60,000 every week. You know, and people are seeing a lot into this, like the drop in attendances, this, that. I think the lack of competition, it sort of breeds apathy. But you hit the nail on the head. That isn't the Celtic's fault. You know, it's no Celtic's fault. The other teams haven't to get the finances that we've got. And I think with the European thing is, with too many players weren't at the top of their game, whereas the season before, we had most of our big players were at the top of their game at the right time, which helped us win games. But when we send 11 players out and maybe 3 of them aren't having a great game, we're really up against it because we're playing teams that are much better than us in quality. So I just think it's a victim of circumstance. A lot of people let Lenny down, I reckon. He's perhaps he's picked the wrong team, but in saying that, he's done what he thought's best. He's the man in the hot seat, and he's the man that produced the goods last year for us. He's qualified this year, but I think quite a few of these players let him down. But there you go.
I'll say one thing about the unbeaten run, Paul. You were asking there, like, no. I actually think this is something that could really generate excitement as it goes on, because there'll be teams out there desperate to be the team to stop it. So the longer it goes, that'll generate a wee bit of excitement, because it definitely does give you a goal, and it'll definitely give other teams an incentive to beat us. No, they're incentive to beat us anyway, but there'll be teams out there desperate to stop that from happening. Do you know what I mean? So it'll become a wee sort of sideshow to the season. I think it'll generate a wee bit extra.
We've been joined by Kralski. Kralski there. Hello.
How are you doing, boys?
What's going on?
You alright, man?
I'm good, man. No, listened in for a wee while. Hope you all had a good Christmas and all the best of the morning.
What do you mean, like? You been in the jail or something?
No, not at all, mate, no. No, I've been catching up, obviously, on the downloads and that kind of thing, but I've not got his live, you know what I mean, so...
Well played.
Do you know something happened? That was a good point that you've just made about how going unbeaten, no longer we're unbeaten, teams are want to hold on a minute. This is your chance to make a name for ourselves here. I mean, I've never really kind of thought it that way, so it's kind of put my point to the side a wee bit, because again, I hadn't thought obviously the added pressure that would bring on the team, the added incentive that would give other teams a wee bit more incentive, would give fans to come up and see if we can actually do this, you know what I mean? But I'll be a bit controversial, and I would give up this unbeaten run. See if it meant that we were blooding younger players, giving them time to come in, make mistakes, you know what I mean? Bust their guts, show what they can do, you know what I mean? I would rather see that than I'm happy here up there and beating run, as long as boys like Atajic, you've got a young boy Liam Henderson, you've got also Daniel Fisher who come in the right back. There's plenty of boys sitting there. Even Guy Baldy a chance for Christ's sake, you know what I mean?
But how much? I don't know. I don't really believe that. See the players that you've just mentioned there, right? Who we've all got big high hopes for. As Jason said right at the top of the show, we spoke about this before, and you only want to bring a couple in at a time, so there's not too much pressure on them as well, and they get a lot of games. I don't really see how that hurts the team that much anyway.
Well, I think they should still have some level of ability. They can compete against some of these other boys, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't understand this hesitancy. Just, you know what I mean? It's like we need to be up 5-6 nothing before we go and put a Tajic on against, you know what I mean? What is it? It's like
that's right, come on and scored, yeah.
You know, we're 4-0 up, he scored the 5th, didn't he? Yeah. So, is that what it's going to take for Lennon to go and put the young boy in? Is he going to win in 3-4-9?
I think what's sort of letting Lennon down at the minute is like his forward pairings. So he stuck with Pookie for a good while there, so fair enough. But he sort of changed it, and I think he played Commons as like a forward. Did he start with Commons and Stokes? Was Commons like the Stokes' partner up Inverness? It kind of looked that way.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to. I mean, I would give Big Baldy a run, you know, and just see what he's got. But he's going to have to do something. He's going to have to gaff, because you knew years gone past it was Hooper and Stokes. That was it. That was your forward pairing, with Samaras playing the midfield. But now he's tinkering with that. And another thing as well. See if Samaras and Ledley are going to sign a new deal. Don't play them.
Don't play them. Oh, mate, you've taken the words right out of my mouth.
Well, what are they going to get him for if they're not going to sign for us?
Well, they're still going to walk away the same wage, aren't they? They're still going to walk away the same wage. You know what I mean?
Aye. less win bonus or whatever, or appearance money or whatever. But if the two of them aren't going to be there, they serve no purpose playing in the games they're in, as far as I'm concerned.
Aye, no, definitely. So, that was just really a point. I don't want to get it too much. I mean, I've not caught any of the games, beaten any of the games this season, so it's only really catching on TV. But Lennon seems to have this thing that if we win 1-0, then we've played well kind of mentality. And last year a lot is passing the ball sideways and passing it back. I don't see much. Don't get me wrong, obviously the wins against Hearts and Motherwell we kind of played really well, but I just think this season, same as last season, I think I was on your show last season and all, and I said the exact same. It's destined to bring through, our own talent. Why we're kind of hesitant doing so, I've no idea. So that's me. That's my thumbs off, boys.
See what you touched on there reminds me a wee bit when maybe Stratton's last season and going to the games and that, and the football was pretty bad, like.
Aye.
But people were saying, well, we're still winning. And I was one of the ones that wanted Stratton out, and I probably have more regard for him now when I sit back and look at it with hindsight, if you like. And I've got far more respect for him than I probably did at the time. But I wasn't a hater either. Like, I just felt his time was up, and even he said it himself, it was a shelf life for a Celtic manager, he felt. But I'm not saying for a minute that it's coming to Neil Lennon's end of his time or anything like that. But I can see it, the point of view a wee bit. We should be playing better football for the players we've got at times, because when you see the performances against Motherwell and Hearts, it's there. It's in the team. So I don't know. How do the players get motivated for it? I don't know. Is it because there's no competition for them? They're going through the motions to a certain extent. I don't know. But there is a slight wee bit comparison there with coming to the end of Stratton's term, where the football was bad. You were sitting at Celtic Park, and I remember saying on a show a couple of years ago that Stratton maybe would have been there longer if the Green Brigade had existed then, because Celtic Park was just boring. It was dire, and the football was bad.
Who was it we played that last game? Was it Hearts we played in Stratton's last game?
I can't remember.
I sat in that game. I think we all turned up. We were still capable of winning it, weren't we? And Rangers, they ended up going up but 3-0 within but 9 minutes or something. And that game was that was the season after. That was a Motherwell game, wasn't it? That was anyway. I remember what you're saying. Half of that game. So that's probably, I'd say at the time, that was probably the worst game I'd ever been to. Was that last game of that season? And I'd said I was a bit. I thought a lot of people were harsh on Stratton. I was a bit of a fan, and I'd said, nah, his time's come up, and I think he knows it himself. I mean, with the way that team performed at that time. But I think with this current team again, what Jason was saying in terms of it's the two strikers. I don't think we've ever played with two strikers. I think we're always playing with one sitting back. So whether it be Stokes, whether it be Commons, whether it be Pookie or something, I mean, we've never really got two strikers up there, and we've never got a physical presence up there as well.
We've not got a goal scorer. We've not got a goal scorer centre forward. It's as simple as that.
I tell you what, I reckon Van Dijk could do well up there.
Too right. I think Van Dijk would do a lot of things better than a lot of players in a lot of positions. That boy's he's an absolute class actor of his own, man. See what keep him there next season.
See what you were saying at the top of the show, Paul, about his goal. There was one thing about it. I mean, he didn't dance around people like Maradona or anything like that, right? But it was the awareness to be able to step in and keep taking the ball forward, and the calmness to go and do it at that young age. Like, well, that's what was impressive for that goal from you, like, no.
He spotted the space, like, and he just stepped into it, and he kept going, And plus, he also had like a small amount of skill to beat the one man who put him like a half-hearted tackle on the edge of the box. But then just to take the shot so quick and from so far out, and him not being a striker. So it's just, he's that's a better goal than any of our strikers have scored this season.
Well, keep in mind, how many times do we see if we had a centre defender who would get the ball and he would go in a wee wander. Ambrose has done it lots of times. He goes in a wee wander and maybe loses the ball, middle of the park or something. But we've got a defender who can offer that wee bit more. I mean, so no defend opposition, that'll be midfield or defence. We'll see Van Dijk get the ball, set it off the centre of the park. I mean, and then he'll start, hold on a minute, is he going to go around here? So he starts making them think as well. So not only do they need to think about obviously the Celtic midfielders and the Celtic attackers, he's also giving them that, hold on a minute, is she going to go on one of these runs again? You know what I mean? So again, I've seen Ambrose there, and a lot of people moaned, Sting and you're in Hoff and all that, you know what I mean? But I think that's a good thing. I think, again, it gives the opposition, I mean, it gives them something else to think about.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when Van Dijk gets the ball and starts to go on a run, now, I don't know about you, but you kind of get excited and thinking, where's he going with this? Whereas the opposite, when Samaras gets the ball and goes on a run, you have to hang on for about 5 seconds to see what's going to happen first.
But the thing, we hear all the time with Samaras, I don't even think he knows what he's doing yet.
There was a couple of times yesterday in the Inverness game, and he just running into blind alleys, you know?
Aye. I think Sammy and Legley's, I think that's why we kind of see a kind of mixed performance. I think they even know themselves. They're really going to get a pay rise at Celtic. So what did they do? Did they take a pay cut? Is that what Celtic offer them a pay cut? Is that, did they realise that they're, in order to keep what they're getting, they're going to have to go elsewhere? And I think you can see that in some of his performances. It's nowhere near as what the peak he was at last season.
Can somebody tell me, what is the actual situation with Samaras? I mean, I take it there's an offer on the table and he's turned it down, or is he still open to negotiations? I mean, what is it? Does anybody actually know the exact situation?
Well, he changed his agent about a month ago. It was that lawyer boy that's always on Twitter and all that, and then they changed it. So, from what I can gather, Legley's on about 25k a week, and they've said to him that they'll give him pretty much that again. But there's not been any response to that at all. Samaras has been offered a lesser deal and has basically knocked it back and said, come up with something better. So then that's basically where they're at now. I mean, I agree. I didn't know why they're playing. I can only think that they must be getting put in the shop window, because they're really offering nothing to the team right now, particularly Samaras, you know.
I mean, I don't think there's many people would be disappointed to see Samaras go. I mean, I completely changed my opinion on Samaras in the last few years, you know. But I think maybe just it's run its course for Samaras. I think maybe his time's up at Celtic.
Yeah.
And I'd say I'm not kicking him out the door with any malice, like, no, but thanks for everything, Sammy, but time's up, like, no, that's like, I feel
if he does leave, like, he'll leave as the player. Like, I mean, the legacy he'll have is that he's the player that basically changed most people's opinion of him over the course of his career at Celtic.
You go away with fond memories, I'd say.
Yeah.
Huh?
But I'll tell you one thing, see if he signed this new deal on 25 grand a week, I'd be physically sick. But we're paying him that because he doesn't earn it in most, I'd say in the majority of games that he plays, he doesn't earn anywhere near that amount. He's been so ineffective this year, and he's been a hindrance apart from Kilmarnock away. I try to think of the good games he's played this season, and there's no money jumping out.
Would we all agree then that Samaras is now back to the same level of performances as what he was before he signed, well, even after he signed the deal he's on just now? If you think he was put in that Rangers game and he scored the 2 goals, and right after that he got his new deal, and then there was still a stretch there as well where the performances were still much the same. It was really, really inconsistent. I think he's going back to that. And if that is the stage, and he doesn't deserve what you're saying, he doesn't deserve 25k a week. I think
Samaras been a victim. Samaras been a victim of Hooper leaving.
Jason just took the words right out of my mouth, because I think he found a new lease of life playing on that wing, and when he had Gary Hooper there, it was a massive, massive difference, and I think that's been a huge thing this season. That's exactly what I was just going to say, Jason.
Aye, great minds and all that, Harper.
Obviously.
But because chucking him up front and stuff like that doesn't work, you know. But so quite sad, to be honest with you, because he's definitely the boy can play football, you know. He's an integral part of Greece's World Cup team, you know, and he can play, but it's just he's got to be in the mood, I think, or I don't know, he needs some spark. I don't know what it is with him, but when he's off his game, he is the useless genius.
If you look at it as well, see the way he speaks with Celtic. He's got Celtic right proper in his heart, you know what I mean? And he seems to talk a good game in terms of the contract situation. He says, well, I was at Man City. And it was seen if we were to get a 1-0 and finish 12th in the league at that particular time, that was seen as a success. So I could either go down to England and play, let's say, the likes of Hull or something, and not have that winning mentality, not have that competition for trophies. So he seems to talk a good game when it comes to the contract. But whether or not that's what he's actually saying during the negotiations is a different matter. For obviously going to the
It could be a good thing for Samaras as well, because I do think his time's up at Celtic, and it could be a great thing for him to go away to a team like you're saying, a Hull or something like that. I don't know the situation with that team in England, but it could be a great thing for Samaras as well, and great for maybe the next stage of his career.
I think he's better suited to European football.
Yeah.
I think he's better I've got it at least Spain or Italy. Or even go back to Holland. He was if Man City signed him at the time for £7 million, he's also done something right to Holland, hasn't he?
Right.
Right, I'll go back and listen in again. So cheers for the boys.
Appreciate it.
One thing that's confusing still about Samaras and Ledley is the way Celtic split them to this stage. It doesn't fit MO whatsoever. Like I don't know if Lennon was under the impression. But it's not even Lennon that makes these decisions. But I don't know if they were under the impression that they were going to sign contracts or what, and then things have changed, like the goalposts have moved. But it's puzzling to me that we've let it get to this stage that the two players, especially Samaras.
I think hindsight is a great thing, but I reckon this is based on no knowledge whatsoever. But I reckon maybe Lenny's put the bite into the board about obviously our qualification for the Champions League would be in serious jeopardy if they were to let the two of them go along with Wanyama and Hooper.
Right.
So maybe he's put the bite into them and saying, look, as simple as this, if they go, then there's a limited chance we'll qualify for the Champions League. So maybe Celtic have took the hit and it's worked because we did qualify. I don't know. That's based on just guesswork.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Like.
I don't know, but you're right. It doesn't sit with the business model at Celtic sort of, because I'm sure Law was quoted in saying that he wouldn't let anybody get into the final year of their contract again.
Definitely.
It was a few years ago he said that, and I agree with that. But there you go.
We're getting a phone call. James,
how you doing?
how's things?
I'm alright.
Oh man, alright mate.
I'm alright. I was at Inverness yesterday.
What was it like?
Oh, pretty pish, obviously. I think I just caught a bit of the show there, and you're talking about we can't have 7-0, 5-0 every week, but you obviously you're hoping it's because I wasn't at the 7-0 and the 5-0 game. You're hoping it's your turn. That you're going to get a turn and a good score. And they scored after a couple of minutes. You're like, you had answer. Here we go, and it just we didn't flat. I think there's obviously too many passengers in there. I mean, I felt sorry for Brown and that. Running about mad, and the guys at Forest, obviously he's not really that fit. Stokes and Samaras, just no doing it. And he's a great, he's running about mad. I thought he played well. Big Virgil rocked it again. I thought Ambrose no bad, but we're just carrying these people, and so it's time to bleed the youngsters now.
I agree there, mate. It was Brown was unlucky in that run with the cut back for Stokes. It was offside.
Aye.
He was. I think it was a ball here offside, but it was a cracking run.
That's a good Celtic support up there, I know. The atmosphere was crap, but as I said, it was called spectacular on one of the early kick-offs when a lot of the support were rubber, but it was a good day they had. As I said, I was just hoping, because obviously I was there, as I said, in the St Johnstone game, but I seen it later on as I was working Christmas and Boxing Day. That was pretty poor, and I thought, right, we're going to run a couple of poor games, we'll score early, and we'll have a good day, score early and all that, right, here we go, 5-0, whatever, and it just, it's just one of these things that we're carrying passengers at the moment who think, obviously, Ledley wants to be, Samaras I think should go, as everybody said, he's done his turn, I think we'll always remember him. I think the good bits, that he's done for us, 2 goals against the old Huns and things like that. But time to go. Forrest, you could give him an excuse saying he wasn't fit. Stokes, I don't know. He's an enigma now. What's the game? I don't know. It's a hard to bring in the young ones now anyway.
Aye.
Hello.
I kind of agree with you, mate. I can't really disagree with that. But I think the criticism the team's getting is over the. I think it's unwarranted for the most part. What do you think of that, James? Or do you think it is warranted?
Well, because we probably got a 3-year journey up, straight into the game and straight back down the road. It's freezing, you're knackered. Then you do get into a bit where playing. I've travelled all the way up here, but that's the way I've been. As a football supporter for you, I've been to far worse games in the old Newton Park, remember? I went up for nothing each game. At home we breaking nothing each years ago. So it's a hard to think. The mornings, when these guys are on big money, I think that's the way I'm trying to put it. They're on big money, and they've just not done it. And there's more. I can see the point of one's not having a good game or whatever. But when there's 3 and 4. Have nearly half of your team, or a third or whatever, not playing well, then it doesn't merit it. You just get fed up. Come on, you got big money, there's 4 of you getting carried here. I don't know what you think.
What's coming to that, Paul?
I don't really think it matters how much money anybody's on, you know what I mean? If you paid a guy £1 million, doesn't make him a better player, I just think... you talk about Samaras, he's only been there, 6 years, come January, and that's a long time in the modern game, and I know he took a big wage cut to come and all the rest of it, but, at the end of the day, it's like we often say we didn't get motivated by these games, but we have to always assume that players must be motivated to every game, and subliminally, it's just not possible. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of a season where you win a league, you win it by 15, 20 points, and then suddenly you start getting beat every week because mentally you've switched off. It's that simple. I think it's, with the last couple of games, I thought we played well in the first half of St Johnstone. Could have easily been 4-5 up, weren't they, and then had to dig in. Inverness was a bit poorer. Again, I think what Jason says, I don't know why, but we changed the formation for the Motherwell in the Hearts game, which
I know.
Diamond at Tynecastle, and then we switched it for Motherwell because we knew they'd set up against the Diamond. Then when they switched to 1, we switched back to our Diamond and cuffed 5 off them. Subsequent to that, Samaras comes back into the team and it changes the whole thing up front, and we're not scoring goals again. We're still scoring enough to win, of course, but I think it's obvious that we're in a transition. And if you think about the kind of Zenith, it was the Barcelona game at home. How many players for that game are going to be at Celtic next season? Maybe 3 or 4 if you're lucky. That's just the way it is these days. You know what I mean? It's changing all the time, and I think you're now going to see this next season. It's going to be a pretty much unrecognisable team for even 2 years ago.
Constant rebuilding every season, isn't it?
Aye.
It's different. Years ago, I think I said this last week. Remember years ago, you had a squad of first team players. There was a core of about 13 of them, and the odd other boy would come in for a game here and there. It just doesn't happen anymore because, as you say, players are moving all the time.
How many times you're going to get lucky with a Wanyama or a Van Dijk? One of these times it's going to falter, and then we don't qualify. In the qualifiers for the Champions League proper, then everyone getting it just the bottom falls out. So it's a hard one where we are now. That's where we are. We've just got to accept it. We've not got the money, and we're just going to try and look for bargains and sell them on. But I don't think it'll work all the time. But that's just where we are.
Pardon me. We still there?
Yeah.
Still there. Yeah. Someone actually just mentioned here in the chat room that there's been a new law passed in France whereby anybody who earns over €1 million a year is going to be forced to pay 75% tax. And I made a good point of saying that a lot of players will look for a move because they'd be earning big money. I mean,
Oh, Ibrahimovic.
Yep.
Looked like a move from France to somewhere else.
I moved from France to save, basically just to save himself some money. Like, the 75% tax is a lot of tax. I mean, but then again, if you're earning over $1 million a year, I mean,
they don't pay 50 here.
do they?
40 or 50 here, isn't it? If you earn over a certain amount, it's
It's
40
40,
or 50. Yeah.
Is these players no dealing with these other pop stars? They put their money into somewhere else. You know, I've got a guy, what's his name? I can't remember the pop star's name. They're all getting caught putting their money somewhere else.
Aye, there's
Never know they could be doing that.
85 of them done at Ibrox.
Hey! That was just weird. That was low hanging fruit there.
Can I just say, who do you think's the player for the whole year that you've seen? Because obviously, I'm going back to the beginning of the year because I think he's where he's just been, again, absolutely fantastic. To me, for the whole year, I think he's been the main man.
Van Dijk for me.
I'd say Commons.
I'd go with Commons as well. Well, I'd say Van Dijk or Commons. I'd say Commons has had the most impact. Van Dijk's probably been the most reliable, but Commons has had the most
I
impact.
think for me, because you're not expecting anything from Van Dijk because he's a new player, but obviously comes with a bit of reputation coming from Holland and that. But I've been surprised at how good he's been. It's been a real pleasure to watch him, you know. Commons, you knew he had it anyway, you know. Which doesn't take anything away from his performances, of course, because I mean he is the main player in the team for entertainment wise at the minute. But for me, big Van Dijk, like, no, he's been there all his fucking life.
It's I don't know, but you touched on it earlier, Harper. You were listening to one of the shows on Hill Media, Desert Island Tims, Billy Noel show, and they had Commons' wife on, Lisa Haig. I listened to it myself today. What a lucky guy being married to her. She just comes across fantastic, doesn't she?
I'm a wee bit in love with her, to be honest.
She
just comes across amazing, but the way she speaks about Celtic with her passion and the way she says about what Chris feels about Celtic, and it just sort of
wee boy sleeps in his strip every night, and she couldn't think of moving away because it would devastate them. You know that. And it was interesting.
And she mentioned about the money as well, that obviously he could have offers to go somewhere that pays more money. But she says that obviously he's earning a good wage at Celtic. She didn't demean the wage, but she said that he's been clever with his money throughout the years, and so that's not his motivational factor in signing a new deal, that he's more than happy at Celtic, and if a deal comes he would sign it. And I think it was refreshing that she just comes out and says stuff like that without being guarded.
And she said, like, as well, I mean, he's a Celtic playing to win trophies, because she could get no money elsewhere, but he's there to win trophies in their style. And she spoke about Neil Lennon had mentioned, I hadn't heard this before until the podcast. She says that Neil Lennon had mentioned retaining him as a coaching role, and she was like, that could keep him there the rest of his career, like. And she obviously seemed like that's certainly the now that's the way they're thinking. They would love that, like, no, that was great to hear. It definitely was. But I'll tell you, like, as Jason says, everybody, if you don't listen to Desert Island Tims, get it. It's obviously on the Hill Media Network. Get it downloaded, because she's you could listen to her all day. Just a smashing lassie, and the work she does for charity. She's saying she's going to be getting involved in the food banks now and everything, so maybe she should tune into a couple of podcasts we've done with Tara, but no, she was an absolute brilliant listening. She's a credit to herself, obviously, and Chris Commons, like, no.
But it's the way she's took to Celtic, you know, it's sort of...
Did you notice one thing, though, Jason, that was interesting, when she was talking about... she goes back home and she talks about if you've never been to Celtic Park, you need to go to Celtic Park, but she did mention that it's good to be in the European nights, or when we used to play the Huns and sort of stuff like that, like, no. So it just shows you that touches everybody. So I mean, the atmosphere, and maybe so much the wacky atmosphere, like, no.
But I think as well she mentioned James's boys, about the banging the drums, constant singing and things like that, you know. So I think it was a wee backhanded compliment to the Green Brigade there.
I see, what you don't know is it's not actually the drums are banging, it's my fucking head that makes some noise sometimes.
Hey James, I give a mate for Liverpool a ticket for it was an old Zombies game. It was a Huns game at the time, and I didn't know where the ticket was for. I'd picked it up and picked it up outside the gun, gave it to me for Liverpool. He was sitting next to the guy with the drum. He said he was going to stuff the drumstick in the boy's throat. He said, when he's in his 50s, he's like, oh man.
we had, see when the last time, the last Royal Firm game was quite funny, was one of the boys who no longer joined the group for a while. He had his cousins and that up to Liverpool supporters, and they just could not believe it. You know, in the section, just the whole atmosphere with the ground, they were like, we've never seen a Liverpool game been going for years, never seen anything like it in your life. When you hear that, and you hear like Chris Collins' wife talking about it, you know, it's just, you let yourself absolutely brilliant, you know. And I'm going to listen to her podcast.
I think this is the moment that we should bring Harper in here. You sort of mentioned Liverpool there, and anybody that knows me knows I absolutely detest them, right?
That's why I said it.
But I reckon there's somebody on this podcast now hates them even better than me. Harper, you going to tell the listeners?
Harper, tell them your tale of woe. People are down to hear.
Alright, so, and I hate Chelsea just as much, by the way, but so, anyway, Saturday, half past 8 in the morning, and I've never done a cooking for months. And I was just reading a wee article on one of the websites, blah blah blah, and I says, do you know what, I'm going to stick an accumulator on. I'll just do, I've done every EPL game. So it was the 6 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday. Stuck a fiver on it, right? So the 5 games on Saturday all came up, the early kick-off, 3 each, then there was 4 games in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, they all came in. Then there was a late game, 5:30 between Cardiff and Sunderland. And I wasn't even really paying attention much. Now, I had a look at my phone, the live score up, and Cardiff were winning 2-0 with a quarter an hour to go. I thought, that's the best fuck now anyway. So I didn't even think about it again for about another hour and a half. And I just started to look at my phone, it was charged, and I had a look. Shit, man, Sunderland took 2 goals back. At Southampton. I'm not a purveyor of English football. I've said that many times, like, no. But I obviously hear how teams are going. Everybody talks about my work. I can't get away from it, like, no. So I'm thinking, Everton at home to Southampton, that's going to be a stick on, especially because they lost their last game. I was thinking, because they didn't lose their last game, Jason, is that right?
They lost to Sunderland. Young scored. Tim Howard gets sent off after 20 minutes.
I always think teams like that who've been doing well when they lose a game kind of bounce back to it quite quickly, you know. So I think Everton at home to Southampton, that's a stick on. Spurs at home to Stoke, got to fancy Spurs there as well. Arsenal at Newcastle's won 9 at the last 11, but if Arsenal can play how they can play, that they're winning that, like, no. And then I've got a draw for Chelsea and Liverpool, of course. So I couldn't go to the pub yesterday to watch the game because I knew that I'd be in the pub, I'd be a wreck. Because at the end of the day, it was 11 grand coming back on this thing. Right, so obviously I'm in Swords shopping with the wife and that, checking the phone, and Arsenal's won, Everton's won. I'm thinking, fucking hell, man. Do you know what I mean? What a state I was in, like, no? 11 grand coming back here, like. So sitting there, and Jason's sending me messages for London. Phone the bookie, sell them the bet, and everything, like, sell them the bet. I haven't even heard of that before, like, no? Because I'm not an expert in gambling by any means, like, no? So I'm sitting, he's off the plane, and Glasgow, he said, you phoned that bookie shit, right? I says, well, I'll wait to half time. So Spurs are winning at half time, Chelsea are winning 2-1. So I phoned Sky. I says, look, is there any chance of doing a deal on this bet? I've got 10-team accumulator paying 11 grand here. Spurs are up, and I'm only waiting on a Liverpool goal to get the draw here. Like, what? They're like, no, we don't do that. Other people have phoned before, we won't even consider it. So it's like, fuck it, that's it. We're all in there, you know. So anyway, that was the situation. Spurs went 3-0 up. And I'm just waiting on Liverpool to get the draw for 11 grand, basically, like, no? You can imagine I had that money spent 1,000 times earlier. Like, in my head, I was getting New York for opening day for the Mets, I was buying a Vespa, I was doing this and I was doing that. And of course it wasn't to be, so I can tell you right now, it was like a death in the family. At full time in that game, I was absolutely devastated. I mean, I think it'll take me years to get out of it.
And the sickener
I was devastated off it, you know. I like that Liverpool goal.
And do you know that way? The only thing I could have done was I could have bet Chelsea in play, right? And I only got 500 quid in the bank, and I suppose I could have stuck 500 quid on Chelsea with 10 minutes to go, right? For you're not thinking they're going to lose 2 goals against Liverpool. And they were maybe 1-6 or something at that stage in play. So I would have maybe won about 80 quid or something like that. But I thought, what's the point? I was just sitting, just desperate for Liverpool to score, like, no? So I didn't even really go into that. But I suppose I should have maybe even got some of it at 50, 60, 70 quid. But at the end of the day, my life's like, you only lost a fiver. But that's certainly know how it feels like, when you're that close. Like, and it's that way till it's the last second of the game, you're still thinking, Liverpool, as poor as they've been, they've got Suarez, and maybe they'll get a chance. And they should have had a penalty.
Should have had a penalty.
6 minutes to go, it was a Stonewall penalty. Howard Webb, the prick, staying right at it. It's not as though they scored the penalty, but I don't know, man. I'll never get that close again. I doubt in my life, like to a lift like that for a fiver. Like, you never know, I suppose. But oh man, I tell you, I went through the mill. I could have to sleep last night thinking about it, and even go out with that this morning. I was glad I had Lisa Haig, by the way, to cheer me up. What's that podcast? Because I was absolutely devastated. I still think about it because that's like, it's equivalent to 5 months' wages in my hand, like, you know. And I'm probably going to be unemployed at the end of March when my contract's up. So that was a lot of it. That would have timed me off for a wee while, like. So I don't know. It's a sore one to take when you're that close, like, you know. I've always hated Liverpool and Chelsea, and I kind of had it in my head, but it's better to be this game that mucks it up for me because it's them, like, no? Oh man, well, that's my tale of woe.
That is a tale of woe.
I can't believe this story, but you shoes above Liverpool, innit? You're a 4.
Well, use it's not really use. I'm a Celtic man, you know what I mean. But Everton's 4th. Yep.
It just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
Aye, it's little old Everton are 4th, but the title contenders are 5th. Work that one out.
There was a thing, was it the Daily Mail today, and somebody says that even Bob the Builder lasted longer at number 1 at Christmas than Liverpool did.
Aye, and have you heard?
see, just a wee thing on that as well, because that was another thing was the back of my mind, because Liverpool got beat from Man City last week, and there's supposed to be these like, title credentials that I thought, well, they've got to get at least a point for this game to show that they are, do you know what I mean, they're the real deal. That was another wee thing that I was clinging on to, like, no, but wasn't to be, so fuck them.
Another one came out of the old cracker. It says, decided to call our Christmas turkey Davy Moyes this year, as it looks frightened, used to getting stuffed, and looks lovely sat in the middle of your table at Christmas.
That's pretty good. Oh my goodness.
I just think they're a bad lot compared to what they used to be. I think Ferguson, he won them the league last year. Moyes is hiding to nothing.
See what joke aside, Jason.
Sorry, Paul, what was that there?
I think the guy who's injured right now won them the league last year, Van Persie.
Aye.
See what joke aside though, like, see watching that game yesterday, like, and I'm being perfectly honest here, like, no, if Liverpool are a title contender with that team there, and I know obviously Gerrard's missing and a couple of other players in week or whatever it is, that's a poor team. Like, for me, like, they showed nothing that they could win a title. So if that's the best what England's got to offer, like, no, it's not as good a league as what the Seven think it is.
I just think, see when you go to watch games down there, they're all technically better. See, like on the ball and stuff like that. You know, one touch it's under control, and their second touch is like a pass to somebody. And I think it's the pace they play at as well. But for the wages that I know, Paul, you're saying it doesn't matter how much you're paying them, but I think in relative terms, the wages that they're paying them, it's no value for money. You know, but it's ludicrous the wages they're paying them. But some of the players doing their own show are out of this world compared to what we're watching on a weekly basis. You know, but I think you're right. Maybe their teams, maybe they're not that great. You look at Spurs, 100 million spent on them. You watch some of their games; they're turgid. But living in Ireland, Harper. What's the para about young Seamus Coleman? Because what a player Martinez has turned him into for Everton.
To be honest, Jason, never really heard anything about him. Like, you talk about in the press, like.
I'm just saying the guys that work and stuff like that. Yeah. Are they no raving about?
No, because all the guys in my work what to talk about it's just Liverpool Man United fans bitching with each other, to be honest.
It's like a slinging mud. Like it's pish.
It's not really. Jason, honestly, you'd be sitting there having your breakfast, and you just want to just lift up your plate and smash it in somebody's face, like, to be honest.
Because it was like that when me and Harper worked together. It was the same thing. You just sitting there, and you kind of get the feeling when you hear these guys talk about their club and about football that they're not really that into it. You know what I mean? It's just something for them to talk about. You know what I mean?
We need a team, but they've not really got a proper emotional attachment to it. Like,
exactly.
So we didn't get it. Like they had a wee boy from the school and with me, the 23rd in Milwaukee, and he was in doing work experience. He was only 15, like, no. And I'm Jesus Christ, you younger than my daughter, like, no. And he was really quiet, and I started talking football, trying to get something out. I'm like, no, it's what team scored? Chelsea. I'm not going to talk to him any further about football, like, no, because I don't want to I don't want to know why you spoke Chelsea, like, no, it's just nonsense.
The funny thing is, right, see when I go into school sometimes, right, like if somebody says I'm into football, I say, what team do you support? And they'll just say United. And my response is, which fucking United? Dundee United, Sheffield United, Leeds United, Newcastle United, West Ham United? Fucking.
And they obviously say Drogheda United.
Yeah, and they'll go, Man United, of course. Why the fuck is Man United, of course? What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong, I'm not down crying anybody for the team I support. I mean, everybody has their own reasons, but it's not the same as why I support Celtic, in my opinion. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, see, the thing about, supporting English teams, I'm not trying to put anybody down. It's just people out there that have a genuine connection with English football teams. The family has supported them all down through the years. I know guys that have been Man United fans all since their whole family are Man United fans. That's fair enough, you know. But sometimes I get the feeling that they get more pleasure out of rubbing success in the noses of other teams than they get from just actually watching their team win.
See, to be honest, Joe, as well, I think there's a lot of fans here who are EPL fans, but they have a team. If you know what I mean, they're quite happy to watch every English game. They love watching football, and they love the EPL because that's what gets rammed in their throats. That's what's in the newspapers here, Sky, and everything. Like, no, obviously, the Irish teams are the home teams here are very. It's a poor league, obviously. No, I think that there's a lot of guys who are just football fans, and they pick their team. Their team doesn't win, like, no. And I think a lot of them just like watching football as well. Like there is that side there as well.
But there's also that their problem as well, whereby you'll hear guys just say shit that they've heard said on TV or they've read in the paper, and that's their opinion on their football team because they can't fucking formulate one themselves. You know what I mean? It's just annoys the bollocks out of me. I just find nothing interesting in it. You know what I mean? There doesn't seem to be any heart in it. You know what I mean?
No, what annoys you, Joe, is when these guys start slagging Celtic off.
Yeah.
Start slagging Scottish football off, and you think you haven't even really got the slightest idea of what you're talking about, like, no. And that's when it gets to me. And I used to watch. Honest to God, I was a massive Sky football watching fan before I came to Ireland, and it's just listening to the fans here in different places of work. It's completely turned me against everything today with English football. It just really bugs me. It annoys me that much, like, no. And because I did watch all the games, and now I'll never see them as background noise in the public. No?
I'll tell you what, a good example. We're going to shit on English football all night, but we used to work with a guy, Harper, right?
I know who you're going to say.
Claimed to be a Leeds United fan, right? From way back in the day, but all he ever spoke about was Chelsea, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And I said to him one day, I said, "Have you ever been to Ellen Road to see a game?" He goes, "No, I wouldn't go over. I wouldn't have the time with the kids and all." I said, "Grand." But then Leeds United came to Drogheda, to this actual town. The first team came to his town to play. I think it was at Gary Kelly's behest to play some sort of charity thing. Right? Fucking 10 minutes up the road, and he didn't go.
10 minutes up the road, 5 minutes.
He didn't go. Like,
I know. I think that sums up a lot of stuff here. Like the Celtic Liverpool game there, they said it in the summer. Probably you'd be lucky if 80% of the Liverpool fans had ever been anywhere near Anfield, like, no, or could point to it on a map, like, no. Which at the same time, you can't down people as well, but it does bug you. It really does get on my nerves, and it has completely turned me against everything to do with English football and television. It just pisses me off that much.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's my story, because I know you've liked to have a wee thing before as you're the only football fan that doesn't like football. and stuff like that. But, honestly, it's got to me so much I can't watch it. And I actually love the fact when they start saying, I was in the game last night, I was like, I never watched that pish, Joe. And they generally get, I think it annoys them a wee bit, but I really genuinely don't care.
That's some man.
I was in a...
but yeah, you don't even like football.
Yeah, but I used to. Do you know what I mean? It's just these people here fucking... They've made me better, Jason.
But that's the thing, I'll give you another example, right? I picked my daughter up from a sleepover there a couple of 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we're into the house to pick her up. She's in the back garden. I says, let's go. And the girl whose house she was staying in, the father and his 2 brothers were stood over this fucking huge flat screen TV that was burned down in the kitchen, right? And they were just sitting there watching results coming in, right? And I was like, what time is it there, lads? And they go, oh, it's about 10 to 3. I said, alright, go home and watch the Celtic match. And then all their faces turned, you'd swear I farted. I mean, they were like, oh, I don't support Celtic, do you? What are you doing and watch Celtic? And I was kind of trying to be nice. What I really wanted to say was, well, I'm not one of you 3 dickheads sitting here staring at English results on a fucking TV screen. You know what I mean? Rather than actually sitting down, I'm actually going to go home and sit down and watch my team. Not that makes me an Uber fan, like that I have the balls to go home and sit and watch the game on the TV on the internet. But it was just this. It was the attitude. Like I was like, what are you doing that for?
We probably just lost about 30% of the listeners.
Probably.
Do you know what's quite funny, Joe and Dave? I can see they're coming to it. Remember times in the Rock Bar, Falls Road, or in the Red Devil, my mate's the manager there, and you're sitting in among all these fans. Was it Man United Liverpool? Man United score, the whole place goes absolutely mental, and you're just sitting down, not giving a fuck. You know, it's weird. I mean, if it'd been Torquay or something, fair enough, you know. But
do you know what else, James? Right, but it really started to turn for me. Like really started to turn was any time we lost against the Huns, right? And the Liverpool fans they'd be slagging you off in the pub. I'd be like, you're supposed to be disappointed at all. So I mean, you're not supposed to be taking glee in the fact that Celtic will beat the fucking Rangers, like. So I mean, yeah. That was the final nail in the coffin for me, Liverpool fans. Like, obviously, the Celtic fans who support Liverpool, right, and they no need to get all upset and everything. I'm just telling you my experiences here, like, you know, fact that the Liverpool fans, not so much Man United fans, I have to say, like, but especially Liverpool fans seem that because they just want to noise you up and that because you're there, but they seem to take glee in the fact Celtic were getting beat for the Huns, and that really fucking pissed me off. Because when I moved to Ireland, I've said that a million times, I thought every pub was going to be a Celtic pub. Everybody supports Celtic, and that's how stupid and naive I was. Like,
but you've managed to turn that tide yourself, however.
Aye, we've got a supporters club who are here and drawing it up. We're fighting back.
There you go. He's the man. Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what we're going to talk about now? My brain's gone dead.
What's the hopes for the rest of the season?
7-0 wins all the way. from here to eternity. I don't know. Hopes the rest of the season. We're going to walk the league. To be honest with you, part of me kind of wants to meet Sevco in the cup.
No me.
Nah, fuck off. No chance.
Just to see them get pounded.
I don't want to give them the money for a start. I want the biggest day this year to have been Falkirk away. Do you know what I mean? That's the last thing I want, to be honest. Honestly, it is the last thing I want. I understand where you're coming from completely, but the other side of the negatives for me outweigh that wee buzz playing them. And to be honest, man, it's only to say that as well. I didn't have a clue who plays for Rangers, to be honest, right? Or the Rangers or the Sevco, whatever you want to call them this week. But the way we're playing them now, we're absolutely stuck on to hammer them. I mean, it's one of the ones where you could think I'd be fucking nerve-wracking. Like, do you know what I mean?
It won't be nerve-wracking.
I understand the excitement and that and the buzz of it, but for me, just let them just be wherever they are, playing against part-timers now, and thinking that's great. They're making all these records, being the only full-time team in the league. Do you know what I mean? Fuck it.
Alright then, that's alright.
Paul, would you want to play them, Paul?
No really, no. I mean, I didn't think. I mean, I think if everything was fair, we would annihilate them because they're hopeless. But it's Scotland, I mean, when are we going to be allowed to hammer Rangers, fucking Oldco, 2, 3, 4 times in our lifetime? certainly the new team, it's not going to happen because it's the refereeing climate wouldn't allow it. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And we would have everything to lose. You know, in the game, whether it's going up, okay, we'd have nothing to gain out whatsoever. In terms of my hopes, I just hope that we can kind of get back to a united front, you know, amongst all Celtic supporters, the board, the players, the manager, everybody, because I've said it a million times. I've said it again. United were an unstoppable force, and that's kind of not happening now for various reasons. Now I know for a fact that Celtic are going to take huge measures to address this. Loads of things are going to change. I mean, the work that John Paul Taylor's doing in the background has been incredible. You're going to see the kind of results of this the next couple of days, where everybody's going to get a voice and everybody's going to get a chance to see what they feel. The tickets are changing. You know, in terms of we're now taking control of all the away tickets again, which hasn't happened for a while. But we're also going to start. Celtic are also going to start rewarding people for going to support Celtic, because you know, if you think about it, and this is something I never ever thought of in my entire life. If you think in terms of the rewards for going to away games and going to European games, you're effectively being rewarded for giving the opposition team money. Whereas if you go to every home game, you didn't get any reward for that whatsoever. So Celtic are going to, I think what they're going to try and do is introduce a system whereby you get rewarded for going to all the games. An alarming statistic I was told 2 weeks ago was that there are at least 70 people in the Category A of European away games who have never set foot in a domestic away game in 4 years. And I find that just incredible. So, you know, that's going to change, and I hope that we can get some sort of, you know, collective agreement where we're all singing for the same hymn sheet once again, whatever it takes. You know, I mean, there's got to be compromise on every value. I mean, it's clear, whatever we feel, whether we back the board, sack the board, whatever it is, something's not working right now. People haven't gone to the games, and that's got to be addressed. Fergus said that every single week in his tenure, unless the stadium's full, that's the only thing you should be concentrating on. And I think that's what we need to get back to, whether it's prices, whether it's better communication, whether it's, you know, bringing supporters around the table, whatever it might be, you know, because whether we like it or no, Sevco's going to be in that league in 2 years, and we didn't want all this nonsense to be going on. We want everybody pushing back as far as we can be, and that's what we'll start, you know, as soon as possible, basically.
Oh, do you think Cards Gate next season would help things? Because a lot of people are talking about no renewed season tickets and that. And I don't know how too cheap sort of thing, because people have already paid the prices for the season tickets. Like, I don't know, maybe we're going back to the stage where there's that many spaces in the stadium, you could go back to Cascade and people would be easier just to go along the day and go to the game, or so they didn't have to go online and buy tickets, they didn't have to go to the ticket office, and all that kind of stuff can maybe put people off. And they maybe not got money in advance, but they've got the money in the day and they can just turn up by the gate. I don't know if that would maybe help with.
I mean, you take the next 3 home games, you know, Partick on Wednesday, no transport in Scotland whatsoever, you know, the odd bus, no trains whatsoever. Disaster. Now that's because Partick Thistle didn't want to move the game because they were like, well, so you were getting an extra day's rest, blah blah blah, because they play on a Sunday. But Celtic didn't raise it to November, and by that time it was too late. So a lot of season ticket holders are snookered by that. Then, in their wisdom, 2 weeks later, they decide to move a game which had already advertised as a part of a 3-game package, festive package, from a Saturday to a midweek game, which is 2 days before the end of January, which, as everybody knows, everybody's always skint then. Now, they moved that game on the proviso that our players need a break, played 35 games, etc., and then, of course, they announced 2 games in Turkey. No great PR, and I don't think anybody who's trying to, let's say, once again, really appreciates that. Celtic know full well that this is the last season that this year. I'm going to pick and choose my games because I've missed 2 or 3 or whatever. How many of the people are honestly going to pay 29, 30 quid for a ticket, you know, to go and watch Partick Thistle at home and Kilmarnock at home? They're just not going to do it. So I think what you'll see is a completely different outlook 5-game season ticket or a 10-game season ticket or whatever and make it an advantage to you. Certainly, if they're rewarding people to go to home games, in other words, that counts towards you getting your cup final tickets and all that, then you would suggest that even if you're not going to make the game, somebody else will be taking your place to ensure that you get that seat used and get your use for it and stuff like that. I'm not really sure if they were actually put cash gates in, because I think they can dress it up however they like. The reason they've got the away tickets back is because they want to get better control of the away support. There's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? They think, rightly or wrongly, I don't know, that because there's effectively no sort of comeback to, if they have no idea who buys tickets for Tynecastle or Easter Road or whatever. So they feel as if, they kind of know they can actually target these supporters in terms of saying, right, this is our lifeblood, and therefore this is who we need to kind of be talking to and communicating with when we're regarding away games. They couldn't talk to anybody for the St Johnstone game with the flag gate thing because they never knew who had the tickets, St Johnstone didn't care. So, at the end of the day, we're going to have to be in a situation where we're going to have to seriously think about getting more bodies through the turnstiles, because we've all spoke about it. People might be bored it, people might be pissed off for the club, people might not like the style of football. Whatever the reasons are, we need to address them. It's as simple as that.
Plus, people have more options now to do different things with their kids and stuff like that. When years ago, you went shopping with the wife, the cliche was you went shopping with the wife, or you went to the football, you sat in the pub. There are so many different things now, and things for families to do and stuff like that, and guys are never getting pressured. I know women go to the football and that, right, but guys are never getting pressured for their missus that money is tight, let's go and do this instead of you going to the football and stuff like that. There's loads of factors now the Celtics really fighting against, and it's a tricky job, that is, and I'm glad to hear what you're saying, that there is going to be loads of new things implemented, because it's definitely needing it. It's definitely needs some sort of injection.
See another thing, Paul. See what you mentioned about getting credit for going to games. Is that going to be like say I buy a season ticket, but I'll still, for any time my season ticket gets used, I'll get the credit for that, and if it doesn't get used, I won't get credit for it.
It's pretty much, aye. And that's because they say that you're making a commitment to the football club. You're paying, say, £400 a season, but you're not really getting anything for that other than to go to the games. Whereas you can effectively buy a season ticket and then never go to a home game, and never use the seat, but you can be in Barcelona and Milan if you go to our away games and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So they're kind of going to change. I mean, what you're definitely going to see over the next course is, Celtic will tell you this themselves, there have been far too many instances this season of people sitting in offices making decisions that affect all of us here and everybody listening, and there is absolutely no accountability for that whatsoever. And it's people that say, like I understood, they need to put, if you're going to make that decision, you need to stand there and take the responsibility for it and explain to the people why we're doing this, why there's this, why there's that, whatever it might be. And so, because at the end of the day, Celtic don't have to just look after the CSA or the Celtic Trust or whatever. The vast majority of fans are unaffiliated and have no kind of voice or connection with Celtic when it comes to communication. So, what I would suggest you'll see very shortly, the announcements will be vehicles for all fans to get in touch with the club and say their piece and get to and that the people who are making these decisions will be in the same room, and they'll be the ones that will have to explain themselves. So effectively you'll have like a mini AGM, every month, 2 months or whatever, but just in the Q&A sense. But in that way we can get all these things kind of out in the open, rather than have just this kind of constant sort of like, didn't trust him, etc. The other thing which I think is a very, very positive step forward is that before every away game, Celtic have a meeting with their club that we're playing, and normally that meeting would be Ronnie Hawthorne, for security, or Jamie Church for security, and that basically it. John Paul Taylor is now going to every one of the meetings. And he was up in Inverness and he was up in Perth, and this is 2 days before each game, just to ensure that decisions aren't being made that's going to affect our support, that he then has to then go and take responsibility for, having known nothing about. I think he said himself on Twitter, and he only found out about the banner thing for St Johnstone the Saturday before the game, and then he's to go and defend it. So, in that aspect, that's going to change, and I would suggest anybody who knows John Paul has heard him on the show, he's gone in there as primarily as our representative, and I think you'll see far better decisions with us in mind, in the future.
Tell me something, Paul. Was there any truth in the Ronnie Hawthorne phoning Inverness about the St Johnstone?
Yeah, that was true, aye.
That was true?
Aye.
Has anything happened to him or is his knuckles wrapped or anything?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, one of the things it's something that I don't know what the answer to this is, but Peter Lawwell's been out the country more than Judith Chalmers in the last 2-3 months, and I'd be interested to know why. There's clearly something quite big going on, and so he's kind of been seeing the people like Hawthorne and John Paul and all the heads of departments and that on a kind of ad hoc, maybe every second Friday basis to get sort of brought up to speed with stuff and whatever. And John Paul, he's got a huge task because, as I've said before about the amount of tweets and emails he gets and all that kind of thing, and he's just a guy, he's not got a secretary, he's not got a PA, nothing like that. And he's got to kind of deal with that constantly. So saying, he's saying to them, listen, I want to be. If you're going to have clubs saying, see all your supporters, we're going to put metal detectors over them, or you can't bring this into the game or that into the game, he's going to be in there and say, you got, St Johnstone, Inverness, Herts, whoever, you need to explain that, so I can explain it to our supporters, and so on and so forth. Because in the past, they had instances when they played at Brentford, and Brentford, told Celtic they were going to have all these security measures and blah blah blah. As we all know, total nonsense. People were in there with pyro, they invaded the park. There was no real bother. But they're telling Celtic, oh my God, no, it's going to be security. So that's going to change, and so that means that after every single meeting, John Paul's going to be able to come on Twitter and tell people, listen, this is what this club's saying, and this is what that club's saying, and here's the reasons why, rather than having this blanket kind of thing where they just decide, and because the police are obviously sitting in on these meetings as well, and we need to, we have him in now effectively representing the supporters in these meetings, which never happened in the past, and perhaps is why we have had sort of so many draconian measures kind of put on us. And it's a lot of this is has to be put in context. And there was a game yesterday. I beg your pardon. Yesterday. At Fir Hill, where there was more seats damaged than there was at Fir Park. But you never read about it in the media or anything like that. Now that's not to say that it was all, whatever happened at Fir Park. But we need to make sure that we're on the front foot with this kind of thing. In other words, our supporters, are kind of fully informed of what to expect and what's going to happen and so on and so forth. And then get back to, hopefully, at the end of the day, with all it is just actually supporting the football club and having as much enjoyment as we possibly can doing that,
Can I ask, do you think the ones that Lawwell and that have been forced to change? They don't want to, but they're being forced to change because of what's happening now, just with everything.
I'm not sure. What do you mean by forced to change?
Well, the way things are going, the stadium being empty and less people saying they're not going to renew and things like that. And do you think he's had to go, we need to change something now, we need to do it? They don't want to do it, but they're going to say.
Well, I don't know if they want to do it or no, but this is all. I don't know what his. I'm not going to tell you I know what's gone through his head or anything like that. But this has all come from John Paul getting the job in July and, getting involved in it and seeing all the politics that's been involved, both internal and outside the club, I have to say, and kind of trying to get his arms around that and putting forward stuff to say, this is what you need to do. I know for a fact that he was telling Celtic, you've got a major crisis on your hands, in terms of the trust that's towards you, in terms of people coming to the turnstiles and people, the apathy and so on and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, what we all want is that stadium to be full again. And we want a bustling, thriving atmosphere. Another thing is as well is, speaking personally, is that we shouldn't. I would have the Green Brigade back in there tomorrow, but we shouldn't, as the rest of us, rely on the Green Brigade for an atmosphere. It's duty us all to be vocal and support the team and sing and all that kind of thing. I don't know. At the end of the day, I would say on seats. there's no doubt in my mind at all. It's a bit like trying to turn the Queen Mary inside that football club at some time. No question about that. But I would hope that the ventures that you're going to see and the vehicles that you're going to be able to use will be able to at least help people to say, look, this is how I feel. Even if they're totally against everything that's happening with the club, or, you know, how it's been run, because I'm not happy with the state myself.
See if I can just come in, like, James, to what you asked there. I mean, I don't think it'd be a case of they're going to have to do stuff they don't want to do. I think they're going to do whatever it takes to make money for the business. For their side of things, the PLC, they've got a duty to their shareholders to win customers, if you like, to get customers money, to make as much money as possible. So, I mean, they're supposed to be good businessmen, so they've got to look at it, and they've got to see that they've maybe got a crisis. If it's not already a crisis, from a business point of view, money-wise, that it's certainly maybe heading that way when people are talking about new season tickets. So I wouldn't say it's like they're going to have to do stuff that they didn't want to do. I think they're going to have to do, they'll just do whatever it takes to fix things to make money, if you know what I mean. I don't think things will be done, it's not so much going to be done as a goodwill, but it's going to be done out of necessity, if you know what I mean. I know what you're kind of saying, that are they being forced to. Well, I suppose any company is forced to do anything they need to do to make money at the end of the day. Like, so I think there is that side to it, but I get a wee bit. There's an idea. There's sometimes this idea that it's us and them, and it's not completely like that. I mean, we have said before, when Peter Lawwell comes to a big Celtic family, he is a Celtic man, right? They're not just out there to be completely distant, right? Even though it seems like that sometimes. I think there is a willingness. There's some people in the club. There is people in there, I believe, probably who couldn't give a shit about Celtic. They're only interested in the money side of things, right? And there will be people like that. There's people like that in every walk of life, in every football club. But football's a different thing because it's such an emotional sport. But I don't think they're being forced, as in because they're being forced because they want to keep fans happy. They're being forced in the fact that they need to do it from a business point of view. Is the way I sort of see the answer to that question. No? Stunned silence.
I suppose, you know, the question we were trying to answer was, what do you want for next year and things like that? And I think what Paul said looks good, you know. And the thing he was saying about the rest of the ground should be singing without the Green Brigade, that is true. That's how we were always trying to sing to the other end singing back, you know, whether it's Craig White's Fenian Army and, you know, come on you boys in green. And I'd love to see the ground. I'd love to see the ground job.
It'll never happen because you'll never get groups. You need to have large groups of people sitting together who have that like-minded, right? There's plenty of people who just go there who didn't want to do that, who just want to sit and watch football, and because you've got those pockets all in the stadium, yeah, people feel uncomfortable getting up to start singing songs like no. I would be in the middle of a singing section, but I'd feel like a fanny if I was at the football with Jason and his mates and stood up and just started singing on my own, and then he joins in, like, you know what I mean? So I don't want to see that ever happening. The one thing I would say that really could generate that is if Celtic are still looking at this safe standing. I think that's something that could really push that sort of thing back to a singing section, because I don't think, just the way modern football stadiums are, it's hard to get groups of people sitting together who've all got the willingness to have that same sort of support, or to support the team in that way. And that's just my opinion. Like.
I think they'll probably go for it. Their aim, obviously, they'll control it. The whole thing, you know, I could see a ground making, you know, that's what they do. They want to control it. You know, and so when people go in, hopefully they'll enjoy it, you know. Whether we're back next season, I know is another thing, you know. But I'm just hoping the ground's jumping in it, because I would hate to see people like Jason and other people go and spend good money, you know, having a bad experience at the team that I was brought up with and support and feel a lot of passion about.
I don't know what to speak for Jason, but I don't think that's top of Jason's priorities when he goes to football.
To be honest with you, it's well done my priorities. Maybe the kids, but at the end of the day, I just want to see a good game of football and see some
that's what was winning. I was meaning the singing, Jason, getting
right.
Good into the singing, but I was meaning you going and having a good experience rather than going and stewards try to noise you up. I know you don't get it in the things like that. You have a good experience, whether you want to sing, whether you want to sit and enjoy a game. I mean, long as you have a good experience at it, where people have been turned off, they're having bad experience, and it's getting more and more, I want the opposite.
Oh, aye, absolutely. But the thing is, where I sit, I don't have any interaction with stewards, police, or whatever. It's just normal. I just go and sit in my seat, watch the game, then go home. But obviously, I see what happens at your area and stuff like that, and it's ludicrous, you know. And it's like people are just want to create an atmosphere and sing. But at the end of the day, if they're letting off pyros, if they're doing this and that, then that's going to be expected. It comes with the territory. These sort of ultra groups kind of make a rod for their own back. They don't. I'm not saying they're not clever enough, but if you played the game better, they would still be there. But for whatever's happened, you know, there's young folk have attached themselves to the group and caused whatever's happening where we are. So I don't know what will happen next year. I hope it can get resolved and the Green Brigade can get back to the football, because I really enjoyed it and it added to the atmosphere. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
That was one thing I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about Lisa Haig. The no pyro, no party. The boys will be after her because she said ban the flares.
Aye. So, it's just, that's it. Paul, another thing, last week we were meant to plug your audiobook. We forgot. On you go, mate.
I don't know.
That's that it?
I know about the last bit I told you.
Did you not get it, Paul? What I'm saying is, last week we meant to plug your audiobook, and obviously the show ran on. We forgot at the end, so now's your chance, mate. Tell the listeners what's happening.
Yeah. Joe.
Yo.
We're recording.
We're recording?
Yes, it was sent to you by Richard.
Oh, you want to play the recording?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't have it lined up there. I'm in a daze here, so I'm just.
Have you got it ready?
No, I haven't got it ready.
Right, I'll just do my wee hopes for next season then. Paul and Joe's getting it ready, right? This is a wee more selfish thing, I think, right? Not next season, next year. I want more people to get involved with this. Right, there's large numbers of people listening to this live. Obviously the majority of people download it, but there's large numbers of you live. And you must have opinions because you're in the chat room, you're on Twitter, and you've all got something. Just call in. Do you know what I mean? Just call in and don't be afraid to call in and tell me I'm a fanny or Jason's talking shite or anything like that. Or, I don't know, just call in, don't be feared. We don't bite. I think he's listening to the show and it's pretty laid back and you can come on and you can say what you want within reason. I just hope there's to get more. I want the show to grow and grow. I think already it's one of the top shows out there for fans to have an outlet, and this is probably the one show I think where anybody can come on and have their say, if you know what I mean. So just to be shy, as well, there with massive opinions, commenting on blogs, commenting on Twitter, commenting in the chat room, just phone in and say your piece and just grab a bit of crack, like grab a beer and come on the show and have a laugh, like do what James done this season, do what Alistair does, Kralski the night, and there's been so many different calls. I mean, I obviously can't remember them all, but just didn't feel that because we have regulars every week that you can't be a guy who just calls in and sticks his neb in, because what we want ideally, this was always starting for people to have a say, to not be like Clyde, to not have an agenda forced in their throats, to come on, because that was the one thing that always you see in the message boards. That prick, did you hear him on Clyde tonight? And they cut him off and they were talking this, doing that. Come on, hear and have your say. Because I tell you, don't think you'll not be heard, because there's 2,500 people download this show every week, so the people will hear your opinion and the people will listen to you. And I honestly believe there is people at the club listen to these shows. But this way, if they're no, that's another part where they wouldn't be doing their job then, because this is where you hear real Celtic fans' opinions. And on the message board, you can see real Celtic fans' opinions. A lot of the time, I think maybe the internet can be a bit skewed to the negative, because people have obviously got a lot more to say a lot of the time when they've got bad things to say. That's just the way the world works. But come on here and just have your say and get involved. You know what I mean?
It's easy. As I said, you're going to be on this season. I was very nervous coming on, but he's put people at ease. You know, where you're slagging each other and things like that. And my jokes obviously help cheese. You know, But
James, does it not just feel like you're sitting in the pub after 5 minutes?
I don't drink, but you sit with mates. It's like I've only met Paul obviously just for a wee bit, and I met Jason a wee bit, and it's like you've known these people for a long time, and we're all the same. We're all Celtic fans, and it does put people at ease. And and I think it's great. And if people want to phone in, I don't need to phone it. You can phone in and be whatever. That was my entire point. Aye. Fucking brilliant. You know what I'm saying? It's just phone in. It's easy. If I can do it, any cunt can do it.
Eloquently put his normal word, James.
Yes, there's my elocution lessons I've been getting. That's elocution lessons, sorry.
We're going to dial it back a wee second here and play the audiobook trailer. I'm just going to mute our microphones and play ahead there.
The whistle will go any moment now. The referee just looking at his watch. He's not even watching the play.
In 1988, David Murray decided he wanted Rangers.
People don't appreciate how powerful Rangers were at that time, and that was a period when Rangers were buying some of the best players in Britain.
I think my initial project was £7.2 million, and eventually I put in more than £9 million.
A commission led by Lord Nimmo Smith found the Ibrox club should have disclosed payments through an offshore employee benefit trust to the SPL, but that it did not gain an unfair competitive advantage by doing so.
They've been sold down the river by the quotes governing bodies unquotes in terms of the SFA and the SPL, who've absolutely failed the game. I think that's beyond any shadow of doubt. And I think they've also been sold down the river by the state of football journalism in Glasgow.
What you're about to read is the story of how David Murray put a stranglehold not just on Scottish football, but Scottish society in an attempt to put Rangers to the top of European football and consign Celtic to the annals of history, and how they lost.
It finishes. Celtic 6, Rangers 2.
Craig White wasn't available to be interviewed today, but his spokesman said the chairman and the current board of Rangers Football Club have nothing to fear from any investigation by any agency.
The Asterisk Years audiobook, available from the 22nd of December. For more details and to get added to the information list, go to theasteriskyears.com.
There you go, there's the audiobook trailer, put together by Richard Swan. And
yes.
That's his...
who's playing you in the movie?
Ewan McGregor.
Here you go, mate. That life for 6 months, you away pastel line.
No, any mate.
No? Alright.
4 stone or boast in the last 6 months.
Well done.
Happy days, though.
Well done. The bold Richard, he's got a great voice for that kind of stuff, hasn't he? He's so brilliant.
That's a sexy voice. That's how you get things going at home. Hey,
he's some man, that because the work he does behind the scenes for Hail Media and loads of other stuff, for Carluke Shamrock, for their supporters club and stuff like that.
That's
tremendous.
That's a quality trailer. So I mean, it's really well put together. It loves the drama involved in it. I mean, it really gets you wanting to download it.
See just on Richard, before we come on the audiobook, right? See just on Richard, I've thought when he first came on the channel with TikTok, him and Chris Mulligan could easily be presenters, Celtic television shows, if you like. With all the people that are involved in this kind of thing, those two definitely have the sort of the knack for it and the natural ability and the voices for it, if you know what I mean.
See,
they're both up with really, yeah.
The thing is, the first time I met Richard, and I think it was the first time you met him too, Harper, was at the book launch. And obviously I'd heard him on the podcast, but see when I met him and he was interviewing me, you and Jason at the table, I was sitting there going like, we're just charlatans, we're just pretending, this guy's a real diggy.
Yeah, he's got a microphone sticking at the top of his iPhone, what is going on?
I was like, this is terrible. So Paul, you want to fill out, anybody that doesn't know about the book,
It's been brilliantly produced by Richard Swan. It's got tons of voices for all over the world there, including the HomeBhoys are on there and ex-players and stuff like that. There's a few wee added extras in there. There's great production between the chapters, wee secrets and things like that. And it's available now for the asteriskgears.com. It's only $4.99. You'll get, Android, anything you like, Kindle, you name it, it can go on there. And this is the second phase of the Asterisk Gears project. The third phase is a documentary which we started yesterday, and that will be premiered in Glasgow in a cinema in the summer.
Oh, shit.
Happy days.
In a cinema.
Yes. To bring it back there a wee bit as well, we mentioned about outlets like this and and Hail Media and different websites and fan outlets. I mean, it's the likes of this book. If you didn't have the freedom and the sort of access to go out there and explain what the book was about, give some sort of insight and background into how you came across a lot of these subjects and a lot of this information. If you were just to bring this book out there all of a sudden, people would just look at you and go, "This guy's one of these conspiracy nut jobs."
And also, nobody would know about it, Joe, if you done it that way. That's the truth. I mean, these platforms, Hail Media especially, I think if you're an independent thing like us, you've got to give the book a life before it actually comes out, and then obviously when it is out, and then keep kind of informing people about it and stuff like that. Because, this book, as I say, has reached loads of other people. It's been asked to go around. I'm going to be doing St Patrick's Festival in Coatbridge next year with Joe Bradley, who asked me 10th of March, to talk about it and stuff like that. And the story is the most important thing about this book. It's not about what any stuff that I've written or anything like that. The story is the most important thing. That's why 3 different mediums was going to be the thing. Paperback, then audio book, then on film, so that we can get the story out there as much as possible. 6 weeks ago, David Murray tried to stop the book. Failed, so that was a victory right away. And I've had great support, obviously through the channel, through other people on Twitter and that, but also, for Carlton Books and Wordpower in Edinburgh and the Wine Estate up in independent stores who stocked it and sold out and that great and all that kind of thing, really pushed the book and stuff like that. And that's I didn't want to go down a road of getting professional producers and all this kind of crap, PR teams, whatever. We can do this ourselves. And you're right though. The platform of Hail Media is absolutely huge for it, because that allows you to actually sit here and say this is what it's all about and maybe address things. Because before the book even came out, I had people say to me on Twitter this is what was going to be in it, and they told me exactly what was going to be in it. It was all rubbish, of course, but and so it's good to be able to just nail a few of these things. And the audio book itself, it's a very laborious to do an audio book. There was healthy long sessions, and Richard was really key in that, and obviously got recordings and that for other people, and I think it worked really well. And when he said it to me the first time, I was just over the moon with it, and it's been supported fantastically, and hopefully that'll continue. And that the success of the audiobook has allowed us to push into the documentary and push on with that, and we've got a few more tricks up our sleeve for that.
Superb. So if you're out there, folks, download it, buy it, and then start getting your cinema tickets ready, get your popcorn.
Have you been contacted, Paul, for any sort of mainstream media? People want to find out more about it. Have you had any contact with anybody that you wouldn't have expected?
I probably about 5 mainstream media, 3 tabloids wanted to give me money for the sort of the kind of the meat of the story, turned all the aim down. One guy wanted for the broadsheet wanted to interview me, and then when he put it to the editor, he said his quote was the editor shut himself times 20. And then one other guy with another broadsheet was going to kind of do something on it, and then sort of again kind of back to me and said it would be sort of suicide to kind of do the suit. So that's, I understand that some people just, until they read it in a paper, they didn't believe it. You try to sort of say to them, you didn't need to. Here's the facts, and go and check it. Thinking, go and check it out yourself. You know what I mean? It's been what's been great is I found out. Obviously Murray found out about it, and Angus Grosshart was one of the main players that found out and went ballistic, but they couldn't do anything about it. because we'd had it all legal, and they actually tried to claim some of the information would have been their intellectual property, which is just brilliant, you know what I mean? But they failed on that, and so. It's hard, but because the most of the media, and it has to be said, some other people as well, will just treat this with total apathy and hope that it goes away. And I understand that, and I understand we're just this is kind of David and Goliath type thing, but we'll keep doing what we do, and we're trying to keep kind of pushing the button on. My life of misery for 2 decades. I'm going to try and do a wee bit to make his life a misery now.
Well, see, something you just said there about a lot of people don't believe things until they read it in the paper. Is there no what's the word? Is there no an avenue then that maybe you could use some part of the mainstream media then to try and give it a legitimacy in some supporters' eyes, if you know what I mean by that? I mean, I don't know who you could use or what to do, but do you know what I mean by that? Because as you just said yourself, there is people who will probably just think, well, this is just the line is a crackpot or a bam pot, is the buzzword that we've always used in media.
There is. I mean, I'm very good friends with the best PR person in Scotland. They could put any one of us right now on the front page of any tabloid tomorrow, easily, without question. But first of all, I never speak to the Sun, full stop. I wouldn't never speak to the Daily Record, full stop. Daily Record never approached me, or anything like that, I have to say. And the other ones, the tabloids that go in touch with me are so right wing that I would just, and just so hateful day in, day out that you wouldn't trust them as far as you know them. And obviously speaking as somebody who's kind of to the left of Ho Chi Minh in terms of their politics. So it's just not something that I want to do. I mean, that's kind of the point of the documentary, is to say, if people kind of show up at a cinema and they see it on the screen and they see the information and we'll be adding to that and all that kind of thing, then hopefully it sinks in, and then hopefully we'll just be able to stream it out there to people and all that.
But Paul, see the thing about having it in a cinema, right? That cinema's going to be filled with people who go to the book launches like anyway, I think.
No, it's not going to be.
Do you not think so? No?
It's not, because I'll tell you right now, in all honesty, the people who go to book launches are the last people who actually buy into anything. They really are. It's the ones who, beyond that, they're the ones that come and actually support these things and, join the mailing list and push towards it and all that kind of thing. I mean, I understand what you're saying about trying to convince people, but let me tell you, I didn't think we convince. I didn't think, like for example, if you take the last book launch in Glasgow, there's a lot of people saying to me that this is no the kind of arena you should be doing this, because there's too many people that are drunk, we didn't need a band, etc, etc, etc. And I think a lot of people who went to Glasgow who also went to Edinburgh got more out of the Edinburgh one, because it was face to face, sort of no band, no kind of nonsense, and just there's the information. I mean, I look, it's just me, and it's in terms of trying to convince people, you can some talk to people some till you're blue in the face, and they'll never get it. But
I'm just trying to rack my brains to think, Paul, how is the best way to get this to the wider Celtic support, so they realise that it's there? Because as much as Hail Media is a broad platform, and it's probably the main platform online to do something like this, how do you get it to that sort of wider support that doesn't know about Hail Media and doesn't frequent message boards and stuff like that? So that's just the only thing I'm thinking, because it is such an explosive story. Obviously, I've seen it before it was published and all that, because I was doing work on it with you and Ali, but I just, because I'm always saying to people in the pub, supporters club, you need to buy this book and that, and they're just like, well, who's Paul Larkin and what's this about? And do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of a way that how can you get this more mainstream without being a seller as well. I know exactly what you're saying about the red tops and that, but you understand where I'm coming from, eh?
No, I know, I mean, look, first of all, if I was to say sell a story to the Sun, then you would also sell the Soul.
You'd be kicked off the show for a start.
You sell the Soul, so it's a case of saying, well, that might reach however many they sell, I don't know, but the people who actually do support you and have supported everything you do are gone because of that. There's been absolutely tons of occasions of people saying to me, I mean, Paul Lee said to me last week, he was at a meeting, there was a Labour MP talking, and somebody mentioned the Edinburgh establishment, and the Labour guy says, you know what the Edinburgh establishment's always been like, and Paul Lee says to him, you've been reading the Asterisk years, and he said, can you tell, like, and that's the kind of victories that you get. The Cope Bridge thing, that's a 20,000 festival. You know what I mean? That's a huge kind of deal. So, I mean, it's never going to be easy, but I never thought it was going to be easy. And certainly, I mean, I could sit here now and say every single thing to the Sun or the Record or whatever. Do we honestly think that they're just going to print verbatim what I write? Or have they got to try and twist it every day? I mean, I know it's kind of hard with people. I mean, I get people all the time telling me that they're an internet bandpot and they're this and they're that, and then the next minute they're telling me what they heard on Radio Clyde and what they read in the paper and they're infuriated by, and you're kind of like, well, you're supposed to be away from that. You're supposed to be dialed into a different world, and that's going to be huge, because I think that sometimes in new media we didn't do ourselves any favours. There's people within new media that didn't do themselves any favours at all, and make it hard for other people to kind of be believed and be taken seriously and all that. But I mean, I don't care if nobody's heard of me, nothing like that. I'm not looking for anything. But the story, will keep pushing the story out there and keep trying to, put it into the broad stream. And I know they're all watching. I mean, I know all the journalists are all, you get wee tidbits and, all this kind of thing for them and that kind of thing. And I know they're all away there, but, unfortunately, most of these journalists aren't actually journalists, they're just PR men, and they're never going to rock the boat with kind of David Murray. I mean, I spoke to a journalist who, never spoken to him in my life before, and he told me about 5 different things that people had said, and I was kind of like, that's fine, so why can't you do something about it? And he's like, he says, I'm telling you, he says, you're still fighting an empire. I said, I know that, but still. And some of them do bottle it, and you kind of say to them, well, it's pretty easy to see why Murray was allowed to ride roughshod over everything for 20 years if he didn't have the balls to stand up and do something, but, keep trying.
See something, Paul, that springs to my mind that's a wee bit maybe sort of more mainstream, but still has that edge to it. It's maybe something like When Saturday Comes or The Blizzard or one of some of these types of kind of publications. Maybe there's something that could be maybe an option.
Aye, I mean, I would talk to anybody and open to anything, as I said, apart from the ones I mentioned. I mean, I know. I can only do so much myself. I mean, I've been round Ireland and Scotland and England and all that in the last few weeks and months, trying to get the message out. And it's a different sort of experience for me. As in the past, the general response people was a kind of pat on the back, well done. This is a mere kind of like, oh, I need to think about this, and that's been different. And you just hope that it slips into the mainstream. But as you say, there's only just me, and hopefully, the documentary can make that differently. Because I genuinely think, I mean, there was people at the book launch in Glasgow who were just like, "What is all this?" And you would see, there were no clue who I was, who Haley Media are, the books, nothing like that at all. And it's about you're right, they are the people you need to get, because you need to try and create a kind of chain reaction that hopefully starts more people coming forward and more people saying, no, I know what you're saying because I was involved or this, that or whatever, It's not going to be easy, and believe me, I'm open to all and any ideas for anybody,
Paul, can I ask you just a couple of questions? How much pressure were you under to get the book in a certain time, and to get it? And have you managed to have a wee bit of rest to yourself? Because obviously you're saying the documentary, but the podcast, the iPod thing, iTunes thing, and do you think you'll keep adding to it, or can you tell me that?
Yeah, well, in terms of pressure, it was quite a pressure situation, primarily when it was getting legal, because that was like 7 days of talking to lawyers, and that was a horrible experience. We wouldn't want anybody to go through that. And then there was a case, I mean, Harper will tell you, we had a nightmare with it just took for ages.
Fucking graphs.
That kind of thing. And then you're aiming towards a date and you've got the book launch to organise and all that kind of thing, so you try and get that, but that was alright. And then of course there was threats and things, and you need to deal with all that kind of stuff, and people complained, wanted me thrown out my college, and nonsense, and threatened my son, and just cowards, I mean, they're just no worth about it. And then we went straight into the audio book, which was literally as soon as I came back from the kind of book tour, boom, into the audio book. That was a hell of a long session. But in the last few weeks, I've been I made a deliberate attempt to actually do nothing. So I have actually started to get a wee bit rest, and I have been sort of frequenting various pubs and clubs. I was actually on Saturday privileged to be in Irvin Welsh's company, which was a good experience. Just in a pub in Edinburgh. He was over for Christmas and flying over to Miami the next game day, so I had a couple of, and it was quite interesting. I mean, you're talking about this guy sold 7 million books, and so it's kind of like, and he comes from the street in the corner from where I come from. So right. In terms of main information, yes, there'll be main information. Yes, there'll be another book. The next book on this, which will probably not be out for at least a year, will be more for a Celtic side, and it'll be how Celtic was able to keep going. And I'm trying to look at. I've got some good, really dynamite information about Jim Farry. I've got some great stuff about Fergus, some of the real stories and all that kind of thing. I've got some new stuff about Judas when he signed, all these different things. Martin O'Neill, how he fought back against Murray and all that, which I don't believe stories like that are out there yet. And that'll be, probably this time next year, James. As I said, we've done the book, delighted with that. It's another sort of tick in the box. Then we go into the documentary. That's something that I'll be hoping to include as many people in as possible in terms of actually being in it, because we kind of know what we want to do with it, and I've been able to secure some great people who are going to do some fantastic music for it and all that kind of thing. In terms of allowing us to use their songs and all that sort of thing, sort of like-minded individuals, and I want to, I don't know what to do. I mean, we don't want some half-assed bullshit documentary. This is going to be 8 to 9 minutes. I want to blow people away with the information we're going to put in there and how we're going to do it. So it's pretty hectic, especially when I'm at college and doing final exams and all that kind of thing. But without the Celtic support, I couldn't have done it. Without the support of people like yourselves and all that, I couldn't have done it, because you get tons of low moments within these times, and politically you think it's worthwhile and all that kind of thing. So I think we've kind of beat back the bullies. We've had two victories from Murray because we got the book out and he never was able to stop it. And we move onwards to a film premiere, which I think will be fantastic. And to touch on Harper's point, that might be the time when we just maybe open it up to a few other media people, shall we say?
See the thing for me, Paul. Obviously, when I was at your book launch, it was a bit of a wow moment for me. See when you started naming folk and you started stating facts. And you started so basically that's slander if it's wrong. Do you know what I mean? So all I can say is that the sort of telling factor for me is you are in a lot of trouble now, because see if you were telling lies, you would be in a lot of trouble now.
No, that's right. I mean, that's
do you know what I mean?
But not by any means necessary. That obviously included a part about how the SFA recruits referees, which is through the Lanarkshire Masonic Associations. They sued me for that. In fact, a leading referee in Scotland who doesn't referee anymore came forward and says you're 100% right, and that was a guy I got forced out. So I was quite happy with that. And Murray, when he got in touch, I thought, here we go, this is going to be it. And it was when he came at a stupid angle, which my lawyers laughed about and said no, there was no chance. And that's what I always say. It's like, if we went to great lengths to make sure there was a truth and nothing but in this book. There's nobody came forward and tried to take on the most powerful people in Scotland, and they've not been able to do anything about it. And hopefully it means to other people as well. I mean, there's something to be said where you can go forward, you can step forward. I mean, we're very open and honest on this show. Nobody holds back anything, and sometimes that's actually the best policy, Jason. And you're right. I mean, in terms of what you're saying about that's been the reaction for a lot of people. It's not been a case of, but what about this, what about that? It's literally like, for fuck's sake, I need to think about this.
Right. And that was exactly it for me, because when you were saying this stuff, I'm saying to myself, he must have this must be right, because at the end of the day, anybody could be recording this in here, and he's going to get in a hell of a lot of trouble if he's making these things up.
Do you see the run into doing your book, Paul, when you were doing some beyond the waves and things like that, and you were saying this is you had to go abroad and get it checked, and obviously you could feel you were really nervous about it, because at the end of the day it's your fucking livelihood and everything you would almost, when you were naming names. But see when you held up the board, I think Jason was talking about it all, at the Glasgow one, and it had all these links, and you've seen, I just felt the power for that board and thinking how powerful are these establishments and these people, and you think, for fuck's sake. So I was starting to believe it when you were doing this, but when you seen the board up, that's when it hit you, because it all came together. You know, in your lap, fuck, oh, you know, I hope the guy's right, because he's taking a lot of shite, he's going to take a lot of shite out of it, and you've been proved right, because as Jason said, you've been out, you know, you've been well fucked in every rips everywhere, because these people don't fuck about.
Aye, that's it. The fault that you're naming and shaming, but the clout they had in society is pretty strong.
Very litigious people, these people, you know what I mean? But illustrating that with the boards and stuff like that, and obviously you can see it through the book, is something that was, you know, about people like Stuart Regan and the IMG scenario with them buying the SPL rights and denying certain supporters watching the games and stuff like that. You know, I wanted to, because, you know, we often get told, and we were often told throughout this period that we're all just the same, and that we get exactly the same as they do, and they get all the favours. Now, we've all watched Celtic in that time, and we know that that's fucking bollocks. And that really pissed me off at the time, because I was watching that every week saying, no, we didn't get the same as them, we never get the same as them. And I wanted to kind of show that, you know what I mean? It was interesting. I tell you something that made my heart leap, actually. I was given at Christmas Alan Stubbs' book, and I sat down and read it, and it's, by the way, anybody wants to read it, it's an absolute phenomenal book. I mean, talk about inspirational with what that guy's went through. But he made 4 references in that book to the cheating Rangers did in their subsequent death. And I just thought, that is absolutely brilliant. Here we have an ex-Celtic player, you know, who was saying, like, we faced the strongest Rangers team ever. Of course, we now know why. And things like that. And I thought, that's brilliant. And I'm not saying I've done this, by the way, I'm talking about in general. If they're now getting that into their psyche, that that's what they face, then brilliant. You know what I mean? That's what we want, you know.
The one thing that strikes me, that I think that really excites me about the work you're doing with this book, Paul, right, is that this is just, for me, the way I see it, it's kind of like another chapter. It's a piece of what I sort of look at as kind of like a global awakening of a lot of people, like not necessarily just within Celtic, within Scottish football, but within people looking at the sort of society they live in, and the people who aren't well off and you haven't got a lot of power. Looking at going, what the fuck? I've been living in this rigged fucking game, this rigged sort of social system for so fucking long, and only now are people starting to kind of go, hold on a second, this isn't right. And that's why I think that moving into like next year, I got a funny feeling next year is going to be quite a big year for, you know, a lot of people to kind of fucking wake up. I mean, as like access to information, books like yours, you know, people just coming out with facts and you know, sort of turning the rock over so you can see the snails underneath, you know?
I mean, we're fighting against all the time, Joe. It never goes away. I mean, I witnessed a journalist 2 weeks ago somebody for calling Inverness Caledonian Thistle Cali. No, their real name's Inverness Caledonian Thistle. I've never seen any of them pull somebody up when they say Rangers. I seen another journalist say, well, this match fixing's ridiculous getting in Scotland, and now we've got Michael Moffat for here and that kind of thing. I'm sorry, but a club was found guilty of match fixing for 10 years in this country. And already they're trying to airbrush that out of history. So we can never sleep, you know what I mean? We've got to keep our eyes open all the time. Because, you know, these people's attitudes and mindsets are not going to change because their football club died or, you know, think it's a new ball game now. Of course they're not. No. We've all experienced it. We all know what it's like. It's the same mentality as you know, in the Occupied Six with people talking about flags and all this kind of nonsense. And it's the kind of, we are the people.
Yeah.
The people were taken down and they just can't get their head around that at all, and they think that the best way to address that is to just completely ignore it and act like it never happened.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? Oh man.
So well done.
Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, it's work that needs to be done, you know, stuff that needs to be said. We're on, it's almost fucking 10 o'clock now. Jesus. So we're looking forward to the Glasgow Derby.
I'm still waiting to hear about what's Jason's hopes and fears.
Mine? I don't know. Just I hope just like Paul said, just for the Celtic support to sort of get united and for the board to communicate more with the fans and just to move together as one. There's always going to be a kind of them and us. I mean, they're the bean counters. Do you know what I mean? So they've got to look at the balance sheet when we just concentrate on good team in the park and things like that. And I just like a lot of the fans to get off Lenny's back as well and stop this moaning. I mean, that's us went the season. We've went the season unbeaten so far, and people still aren't happy. I mean, I know
but we got beat for Mock.
Ah, well, there you go. So in the league, in the league.
That's what you hear. That's what we come up with.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I want the double. We're going to win the league, no question. But I hope we can win the Scottish Cup. And I'd like to see a challenger emerging for Dundee United, Aberdeen, or Hibs. You know, I'd like to see somebody. I think Butcher will do a good job at Hibs, to be honest with you. But I just like to see somebody coming to give us a challenge, because we're missing that.
See, you mentioned that. The last time I can remember being excited about a challenger is when George Burley was at Hearts. Remember that?
Aye, and they got rid of him.
Fuck, he was doing great. That was one of the times I was like, "Going, it's turning. There's another horse in the race." Then it all fucking fell apart.
I don't know. And I mean, you're talking about what is it? It's the 80s, and somebody between other than Celtic or Rangers won the league. Do you know what I mean? So I just like a team to just have. I mean, Dundee United, you see the crop of youngsters coming through, and then they sort of the arses fell at the end. They started getting beat again. But it's good to see the Dundee United Aberdeen game has been sold out.
Exactly.
So sold out, and Hibs and Hearts might sell it. I know the Hearts end is sold out. There's a good chance Hibs, because Hibs fans they'll expect to give them a good tanking, Paul. So I take it Hibs will potentially sell that out.
Always do, and obviously it's a wee bit poignant the Hibs Hearts game, as everybody will know, because obviously David Paul, who the young Hibs player who died in his sleep last week, and that was a horrific thing. And obviously Justin Skinner as well, who died playing for Tynecastle Boys Club in the Park. He's a year above my son, playing against a year above my son's team. So something to think about. And the Hibs players are going to be wearing maroon armbands, and the Hearts players are going to be wearing green armbands as a mark of respect. So hopefully that'll go really well.
Aye, and as I say, thoughts and prayers to everybody concerned there. I mean, we're all going about football rivalry and stuff like that, but that brings things back into perspective. And just so sad, so sad, and just it's just so cruel. Life's so cruel at times, and just thoughts go to everybody.
Absolutely. I just want on the back of that as well. Yesterday was the anniversary of the death of Phil O'Donnell as well.
Aye. I know, and I knew Phil. Had a couple of nights at him and stuff like that, and lovely fella, absolute gentleman, just a real diamond character, and so sad. 7 years doesn't seem like. Is it 7 years? Doesn't seem like yesterday. I can remember driving back for the game, hearing it on the radio.
6 years.
Aye, just unbelievable. And my good mate for work, he's a Motherwell fan. He was at the game, and just heartbreaking. But aye. Life is so cruel at times, but on that note, I don't want to finish on this note, do we?
No, here, let's just mention there. You mentioned somebody mentioned referees earlier on. It must have been you, Paul, with the Masonic referees, regarding the book, and it was in what book was it in? You mentioned the Masonic referees. My mind's gone blank tonight.
Alan Stubbs is autobiography.
Alan Stubbs, right? You see, Dougie McDonald's been brought back as a development advisor for the SFA. So basically, his job is to have input and advice with young officials. What the fuck's that tell you?
The same day, by the way, and who a certain Ewan Norris was taken off the FIFA list for continuously bad performances as a referee. This is a guy who rated a penalty at Hampden against us and all the rest of it. Once gave Rangers Olco 5 penalties in 3 games. Over the course of 3 games, he's now been demoted for the FIFA list. This is a guy who only got in the SFA because his father, who was an equally hopeless official, fast-tracked him in, very much like Andrew Dallas did with his father Hugh,
I think Scottish football, it's this old boys network that destroys me, and it's destroying Scottish football to a certain extent. We need radical change our game. We need radical shake-up, and I just think we need a total clean-out, but it'll not happen.
It won't happen, no.
Guys like Campbell Ogilvie and stuff like that, still in office, it's a disgrace.
Unless somebody storms the fucking door, storms the steps of Hampden, an angry mob with pitchforks and fucking flames, nothing's really going to change, They'll just keep moving the pieces around, and the game will still be rigged.
Yep.
I know. Right. So we need radical changes. Like we've spoke about summer football and things like that, but things need to change. You know, we need to. I don't know if you just make it 2 leagues of 16 or something like that, 4 up, 4 down, and then you do regional leagues below that. You know, and they're not in the SFA sort of thing. I don't know. Just we've got far too many teams for the size of country we've got, and it's like it's one team, 1 vote. So Elgin City have got the same vote as Celtic and things like that. I don't know. It's just brutal.
But you're right though. I mean, it is odd that they've adopted basically the English structure of the leagues, and yet they haven't got the type of teams that can fill that sort of structure. You know,
it's terrible. You know,
it's
see man and their dog watch some of these games. So there you go. But so I just think we need big changes, big shake up the Scottish game required, and I'm not holding my breath.
Well, see the handshake mob, the old schools you were talking about, needs to go. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to get rid of them. That's the thing. Fanpower would do it, but unfortunately, some of these big clubs would run the handshakers, so it's a hard one.
Firing squad. Oh.
So Joe, you told us your fucking
hopes and fears. My fears is that we'll get to the end of the season, right, and the home games will just be really low key, dour affairs, and there'll be no atmosphere. Which, to be honest with you, is kind of something that I can see happening. This whole sort of internal strife with the fans and supporters, I really hope that goes away and goes away fast, because it does nothing for anybody. All it does is it takes away from the actual issues that we need to address as an overall support, and just all this infighting. It's pointless, you know. So hopefully that'll all just go away and we'll all get back together and support Celtic again. But I don't know. I think with regards to the club and the support, there's quite a long road to travel. I think we've taken the club themselves have taken steps back. You know, they've gone backwards in their dealing with the fans. I hope John Paul Taylor gets more power put into his hands. I think that's something that could really make a difference. A guy like him with a bit of power who can make decisions, you know. But I really don't see that happening either. You know, I think at the minute the money's in, everybody's kind of happy. Status quo is good. I mean, if it's not broke, why fix it? You know, I think that's kind of the board's attitude. But then again, I don't know. I'm not a fucking. I couldn't run a football club. I couldn't run a fucking Bath. You know. So I don't know. The double, obviously, like cup final day is always good fun. I'd love to see some young guys come through. I mean, I'd like to see Baldy get a decent run on the team, because there's something about his finishing I think that is really, really good.
And I remember we see it comfortable.
Well, he hit that ball in the volley. So
right, so listen, to wrap up then, here's a wee thing that maybe got a wee bit of laugh at it. New Year resolutions. We'll go through our New Year resolutions, surely.
Well, like
James, you can go first.
Right, mine would be to be happy there on this show.
That's that one done anyway.
I'm fucked here already. Joe, I was just going to say, you're talking about the status quo, you're fucking pish by the way, get another group.
You can't knock the quo, the quo.
Sorry, no, I just hope everybody on the panel, it's your 4 shows, you 4 people's shows, that you all have a nice New Year, you know, and everything goes well, and everything, he's nearly whispered he's dead.
That's not your resolution.
Aye, but just for next year and all, you know what I mean? Hope everything goes well for everybody, you know, and I just hope next season everything goes fine for everybody. That's all I can really say, and I'll try and stop doing the swearing, because some people's asked me, actually, believe it or not, that is that you on that show? Because normally at work, obviously, I take my work a day and voluntary work a day, I don't swear, and they can believe it's me. They can believe the joke bits, they know the swearing, so I'll maybe try and cut down to maybe 1% of the swearing.
What are you, a priest?
Nearly.
Yeah, has anybody pulled you up since last week's huge revelation?
No, I'm at the closet now. No. But they've not heard it yet. But you know, if they need the day, they don't. I mean, there's boys of yours that post on message boards, Kerry Dale Street and all that, as Green Brigade members. So I'm sure somebody will say something. Somebody will wet their knickers there a bit. You know, as you said, it's an open show. You know, so it was good for me to come out the 111 closet, you know. So it was
fair out your closet was made of fucking glass. It was that transparent.
I said to you before, how do people know? If people don't know, then. But Jason was right. You know, it's stupid. Everybody can see it anyway. So I was happy to do it. You know, I'm not telling you about my transvestite days. I'm no fucking doing that one. But just to see, no, just to thank you again once again for having me on the last couple of months. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I can, you know, add to the show when I can go on and when I'm allowed on, and just all the best to the panel and your families. A big sook here, isn't it? What
about you, Harper?
Jason?
Well, Jason?
Talking of transvestites, obviously I was doing London, and London's a hotbed for all sorts, and we're sitting in a French restaurant one night, and I comes out the toilet, and my kids are looking at the waiter, and really like to me, Daddy, that's a man. And so we're getting served a transvestite. It was quite interesting.
What kind of spots are you bringing our kids to? Jesus Christ.
No, my hopes for the New Year.
Your New Year resolution.
My New Year resolution.
The hub one. Try and keep it.
What's it going to be?
Shit, you shouldn't have one. You've got it all.
I don't know.
Find another football team to support.
Linda's just said stop going on my phone as much. There you go.
I get that shit too at my house.
We all got the same crap. Right, that's my New Year resolution. Stop going on my phone as much. There you go.
What about you, Harper?
Me? No, this is going to be the usual. Try and get away from 17.5 stone. Mine's just going to be honest. I've got to make big lifestyle changes, man. Lose weight, get control of my diabetes, and overcome a few mental issues, I suppose. I just be healthier, and
that's the way to refer. That's the way to refer to your wife as a mental issue.
I wish that was the only fucking issue. It's maybe something I'm going to talk about on a show soon. I discussed with Paul before I went to New York, and it's something I feel I maybe need to talk about and get out nothing, but that's maybe something I'm going to do soon. Usually I know what I'm talking about anyway, but that's my New Year resolution is to be healthier, both in body and mind.
Paul?
Moving to Charlotte Square. No, mine's just to relax me, because that's something that I find the hardest thing in the world today, and my doctor continually tells me, so I'm trying to find time to read more books, spend more time with the family, and just generally relax me. So if I'm getting too stressed, you can pull me up for that.
There we go.
Well,
me? I'm going on a January detox, because I try and do it every year. Not like just for the whole of January, don't drink, just don't do anything, just concentrate and try and be healthy.
You do that. You've done that before. You've fucking ran marathons, or you ran a half marathon, full marathon.
I ran the marathon series.
I mean, you can do that. You can knuckle down and lose the weight and get fit. And
I know I can, but that's fucking. See, first 2013.
So can everybody.
No, I mean, Joe's got it in his locker. He definitely did it. No, he's done it before, so.
I've done it several times. Like I've put on weight and lost weight maybe 6 times in my life, like serious weight. So I don't find it that hard to like sort of get myself motivated to do it. Like it's just sticking with it that can be difficult. Imagine when you have kids and you got shit going on. I mean, like it's hard to really, make a routine out of something when you've got other things going on. Plus, my house is like a fucking spinning door. I mean, there's always people coming in and out. Somebody's gonna get punched one day. But apart from that, no. To fairness, 2013 was it's been a fairly tough year for me, like, so just hoping 2014 is going to be better. I mean, I like to either start doing a degree or fucking embark on some sort of career, because I'd like to make more money. Obviously, who wouldn't? But yeah, no, I mean, that just sometimes I guess this time of year people are always thinking, oh, how am I going to make next year better? And see, at the end of the day, like I've had a fairly tough year, but see, when I walk back into my house and my kids are here and they're smiling and they're laughing, I can just close the door and all that shit just goes away. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I know is a constant in my life, and that's going to make fucking New Year's Day and the day after New Year's Day equally as good as every other day. But if I can sort of get my shit together, so to speak, and make some sort of kick on that I haven't made this year to like a higher level of employment or whatever it is, where get myself going, or else this Christy Moore money's all going to roll in and I'll be fucking balling driving a Rolls Royce.
There you go, man. That's the thing. You look at other folk, and we touched on the Hearts and Hibs players like dying at a young age and things like that, and you look at how other people's lives can just change in the blink of an eye. So I just think you've got to cherish each day, and if things are going good for you, just enjoy it, just try to embrace it, and things that my life's great at the minute, I've a healthy family and stuff like that, but things can change in the blink of an eye, so you just need to embrace it and enjoy it each moment you've got, and it's quite a serious note, but you've just got to roll with the punches and just enjoy it.
I mean, I'm hoping to get involved in maybe the food bank, but the only thing is, I already so I'll maybe try and get involved in one of the food banks, so that's another thing for me next year.
That's something I'm going to definitely do here. Like if my contract's up at the end of March, I'm going to get involved with the homeless aid here in Drogheda. So instead of just the last time I had 11 months on the door and I'd done nothing but feel sorry for myself, I'm definitely going to go out and be productive this time. And the homeless aid here in Drogheda's one of the things I've got my eye on, and I feel quite passionate about because I sort of hate the snobbery that's in the world at the minute, doing people like that. So that's something I want to get involved with here locally, This just and that's being selfish as well. It's for my own benefit as well, just to keep myself busy.
Well, in fairness, I mean, if we're going to nail down New Year's resolutions, I think you just hit it there. I like the snobbery in the world of this sort of like you said before, Jason, that I'm alright, Jack. And it's one thing to be like I'm alright, Jack. It's another thing to be I'm alright, Jack, and then point at somebody else, going, "Look at that person. Look what he's doing. That's fucking shit." You know what I mean? And I meet so many people like that. I mean, I'd be around certain types of creative people, right? And as nice as they may be, there's a certain element of people that they just can't keep their mouth shut when it comes to pointing out somebody else's deficiencies. That fucker's on the dole, that person's on the dole. You're like, you can't just point at people and say he's this, he's that. You know what kind of shit people are up against. So I've kind of developed the policy that I'm going to invoke next year. And I've already started doing it online. I'm going to give zero fucks from now on about anybody's feelings or anybody's concerns. And if they say something out of order, I'm just going to call them on it because I'm fucking done being nice. Sometimes you're nice and you wind up just agreeing with some shit because you don't want to offend anybody. I'm done doing that. So from now on, I'm just like, somebody says some stupid shit, I'm just going to fucking pull them up on it. Because normally I'd be like, oh yeah, that's okay. And just, go along with the ignorance because it suits everybody in the room. I fucking have my fill of that. And this show's kind of been one of those things that's helped me do that because, you can't say what you want on here, and you can be controversial, you can be mad, you can be whatever, but it gives a certain level of confidence in your personal opinions and how you see the world, And I think just some people need to be told regularly, you're a fucking prick, Don't be about
the bush.
Exactly.
I'm taking the hint, man. I'll sign off for it. Right.
All right, we'll close our down, won't we? It's 10:10. I'm going to go downstairs if I can stay awake and watch a film with my missus. So that's it. Another year done. HomeBhoys episode 111. I hear you, but this is HomeBhoys 111. James.
Yes.
You should have waited till this week to come out of the closet.
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
I'm 666. I've got my fucking head.
Anyway, we're saying off. This is the end of the year. 2013 is coming to a close. Hopefully, 2014 just has nothing but riches. But either way, you're not a hun. So every there's always a bright side. Wake up in the morning, you're not a hun. It's good.
Do you know what? 2014 is we're gonna hit our 1 millionth download or listener.
Whatever you call it. I just say listeners to people because it sounds so impressive when you say that. Like
it's coming soon. It's coming close.
All right, well, we're at 880,000 now, so we're not far away.
Right, we're far away, man.
So we're going to play out with the Hector Berserk season wrap up. If anybody didn't see this, It was on the BT Sport yesterday, and it's a rap song by a band called Hector Berserk, who are clearly Celtic fans, and it's about Celtic, and I really liked it. Like, I love rap music, and it's not your typical rap music, but it's pretty good, and each guy's got some talent. So, we'll say goodbye. Harbour?
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everybody has a good one and a safe one. And if you're Joe, I don't know if you have any intentions of coming down to the club, but we'll be in there New Year's Day. Anybody that's listening in the area, Celtic Park the Thistle, actually St Margaret's Club, is going to come down and watch the game with us, the St Lawrence's, so it's going to be a busy shop. And Sarsfield's is going to be a great crack. We tried to late on in the day get a singer in, but we were unsuccessful. Everybody was booked, but it's going to be a packed pub on Wednesday anyway for the game. So if you're in the area, get in for the Glasgow Derby.
If I do show up, I'll be driving because I have people coming for dinner on New Year's night.
That's fair enough. But anybody in the area, get in and launch the CSC. And thanks again, everybody bought a calendar. I've only got 4 left.
Have you kept mine? Because I was meant to get mine last week.
I know. I've got yours put to the side. Don't anybody else actually buy one online because I'm probably going to run it. So I know there's a few people in the pub still want them, and we're going to go new. Either 3 or 4 to give away prizes in the next 3 or 4 weeks. We'll give away one a week with different competitions. And as I say, there's going to be a bonus podcast getting recorded very, very soon. A sort of part of the podcast or a Celtic mastermind type thing. So
it's funny.
It should be a bit laugh.
You put this show and mastermind in the same in the same breath. That's funny.
It should be quite interesting.
Jason, yourself?
She's there.
Paul Largan.
See you next year.
And James.
Folks.
James.
Happy New Year. I hope to meet up with some of you maybe before the Marston, the Cairo thing, and go for a Coca-Cola or something.
That's coming up. That's right. The 2014's are already looking better, so it is. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
So you mentioned just one thing I want to mention. You mentioned the charity calendar, Harper. The thing, the blog that I put up on Hill Media a few months back there for the Fielacon for the stillbirth charity. Tony Owens from the Irish town, Spirit 88 CSC was originally trying to raise 500 quid, and we put up a thing. I don't know how many people give to it because it's like an anonymous donation type thing, but he gave the check to the charity there just before Christmas, and he managed to raise just under 14 grand.
Wow, brilliant, man. Brilliant.
And he gave it to him at Ringsdale Community. So fair play to Tony and Claire, who are actually in the D Hotel this week, having a few drinks. So best of luck to them. And listen, folks, have a good New Year. Enjoy yourselves, a few drink, and we will see you in 2014. Enjoy yourselves. Good luck. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Really are flying so far this season. That is reason for a rhythmical rendition. So let's wrap up their campaign so far in 90 seconds.
I'm British rap dancer to Frank Zappa, releasing cosmic debris out of my napper. Follow football with a mad mantra, support a team inherited from my granda. Scottish rapper, raising eyebrows, like when Celtic sold Gary Hooper and Wanyama. That's the type of thing that the fans challenge, except the ones obsessed with the fan palace. After losing 2-0 away in Kazakhstan, even half the fans didn't give the team half a chance. But when it's all or nothing, paradise is erupting. The fans back the team and the atmosphere we're loving. Intrinsically clever, the Celtic way forever. James Forrest delivered the 93rd minute winner. Credit Ledley, Stokes and Samaras. UEFA sent Messi, Balotelli and Fabregas. Domestically we welcome back the Partick Jags. 7-0 at Tynecastle causing heart attacks. We went to Firhill, had a party with Amido Baldi. The fans are happy just to have a Glasgow derby. At Rugby Park Kilmarnock, a Samaras hat-trick, a 5-goal thriller. The manager's ecstatic, but we remember the end of September with caution. Glasgow's green knocked out the cup by morning. Went to Ross County away, 7 AM in the morning. Kick-off is midday, the whole supporters bus is yawning. Ball-headed goals, Van Dijk's on performance. Who said watching football isn't fun in Scotland? Lost 6 goals to Barca, a hard lesson. Knocked out of Europe as the season is progressing. Know the hoops will win the double. End of. The fans got to keep the faith. The Petrov.
Great stuff indeed. That was Louis from Hector Berserk providing us with the lyrics, and that is him there. He is in the away end today. He's made the long journey, and good on him. No doubt he will be cheering on Celtic's top scorer so far this season. Chris Commons is so gangster. He spells his Chris with a K, which is absolutely fine when you're in the company of Emma D.